Saturday.
Oh man. Oh, I saw when I went to Dancing with the Stars on Monday
Yeah.
night, Tuesday night. They were having ads before the show of what was coming to the casino later in the year. Chicago is coming in March. No, March or April. I think it's April. And Trombone Shorty, who's another like New Orleans trombone rock guy who I really want to see live, is there. And then Weird Al Yankovic, like,
Ooh, Weird
is
Al.
coming. Weird Al's touring, and this is his last studio album that he's aware of, because after this he wants to just kind of put out online stuff and small things, not giant LPs. So this may be the last chance for a while that you get to go out there and see Weird Al live. So I'm really wanting to go see it.
Yeah, you got to do that. Come on
Yeah,
now.
I know. At least Chicago, because I know the guys in Chicago. I don't know when I'll get to see them again. Don't know how much longer they'll be around to see.
Oh,
So
you're talking about the band, not the
the band
play.
Chicago, yeah, not the play, the
Oh,
band.
okay. I was thinking you were talking about the play.
Hey, big spender.
I know.
No,
Wake your
I
good
saw that,
tomorrow.
so I'm okay with it. But to see 25 or 6 to 4 played live, or Just You and Me, or any of those other songs that I like by them would be just fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. All right, I tweeted
Hello,
the deets
chat
is in their
room.
live and stuff, and I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
That's okay.
That's
We
okay.
got we got the we got the tweets deeded and the deets tweeted.
The deets and the duts and the doots and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, guess I should get out. I guess I should get out of WoW. I was trying to solo Firelands earlier. I should get out of here.
That would be probably a
That
good
would save
idea.
some RAM just in case.
All of a sudden, you're gonna have like sound effects in the background being like bam, bam, bam as you're trying to kill Beth Black or something.
Yeah, like, huh? Yeah, yeah. We're talking about slash Muda. Ah, darn you, Balrock! Jeez, just flip the whole desk.
Desk flip. Well, you just installed it. You can't
I
desk
just
flip
put
it
it in.
yet.
I can't do it.
You can't flip it yet.
Yeah, I did have the lighting set up to where I could just turn it all off if need be, like this.
You
I
look
thought
like
about
a
what
floating skull.
Mecca lecca high, mecca hiney ho.
All you need is like the glowing green light underneath you.
Yes, I do.
That's
I could.
awesome.
Yeah, I know. I could. I've got a bunch of white on the desktop, and my keyboard glows green, so I could do that. But
How
I
fun.
thought about when we first got on the call earlier to surprise you, like, you want to see the new studio? Here it is, and then turn the lights on.
It's really creepy. That was awesome. That is dark too. All it is your face and
Yeah.
a very like minor outline of your paint of your
Oh
pictures
yeah,
behind you.
yeah, because of the
Yeah.
white border. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that you see. That
Oh
is
man,
cool.
yeah. It was cool. I'm glad this setup works. I'm glad I was able to get it put together and set up, and been kind of working on it off and on all week. There we go. Had trouble with that sentence.
Said check your autofocus too. Is your camera
Messed
doing?
with the AF. Okay. I'll turn the camera off and back on. Let's see what it does to that.
Flip.
All right, 20. Let me know if that looks any better.
First it has to load. There it is. It's coming in. It's trying to focus.
Hmm.
I think it's good. It's coming in.
Okay. I can kind
That
of check it
darn
on the side.
autofocus, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be fuzzy on the stream.
Only if you haven't shaved. Only if you haven't shaved.
Well, I haven't, but then again, I don't get a 5 o'clock shadow until about 2 p.m. on next Thursday,
Oh,
so
okay. You're
we
good.
won't have to worry about it. I haven't shaved in like almost a week, and it's like nothing.
Really?
So yeah, I can't. Like I did no shave November, and it just looked like I was being lazy for a few days. So I did shave the rest of it, had the mustache, and I was like, it's Mirror Universe Marconin. It didn't. It just looked like a scrappy teenage mustache. It looked like, yeah. So I just didn't want to have to deal with that.
It's sad because like I could
Yeah, you can
probably
see the
grow leg
scruff, but
hair longer than your beard.
but probably. I mean, my dad has a mustache, and he has a beard too, but I didn't. I don't
Every
know.
day. Kane's like that
It,
too.
I said I have baby face. I don't mind though. Like I don't mind, facial hair. I'm like, it just like if I'm trying to eat, it feels like I'm getting in the way. So I'm like, get out of the way.
I don't know
I
if
don't know.
if I could see you with like a even like a goatee design.
Yeah, I don't really know how I'd feel with it. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I go for some, gosh, one time I went like 4 or 5 weeks because I work overnights. I'm working with the same 5 people every day.
Yeah.
I don't go out during the day. There's nothing else to do. I just let it. And it was just like, it was just a mess. And I was like, I can't really work with it. So I decided to just axe it. And I'm not really going to try, at least, you know, maybe one day when I can, or maybe my face decides that it'll let me grow something, then maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it would look good. I don't know.
I say keep it without because it seems to
Yeah,
work.
yeah. I know on Twitter a lot of ladies are like, "Oh, I love the beard. Oh, the beard, the beard." And you know how to properly shave a beard? Yeah, you don't. That's how you properly shave a beard. You don't. And I was like, that's funny. That's funny.
I don't understand I'm not a beard person, so I don't.
Yeah.
It's never been a thing. It's funny though because my dad decided to grow a beard many years ago, and it now he's had it for so long that I don't remember. I see pictures of him without it, and I'm like, that's weird now. But all
Yeah.
growing up, he didn't have one, and so it's just it's totally different. He looks good with it though because he's got the all white beard going on, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so it looks good with him, but
Yeah, my dad was the same way. He had his mustache all growing up, and then I think when I was in junior high or high school, he shaved it for a couple of years, and it was just weird at first. I mean, I knew it was him. I wasn't so young that I didn't recognize my dad. It was just different. Like you're saying, I couldn't remember. It's just a big difference. Something I'm not used to seeing.
yeah.
But you know,
Facial hair. Such a conversation. And it's a polarizing conversation too. Like there are people who are
yeah,
like staunchly defending the beard, like you must have a beard, or
yeah.
But for the guys who can't grow them,
And I was like, do you really want me to look like a homeless person? Because that's all I can do. That's the only look I have is the, down on my luck look. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather
I look
just
like I had one
shave.
too many every single day for a month. That's all it is. Let me do a quick sound check on you.
Yes.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star.
Good.
You're right, MacGyver. I do need more pop vinyls, and I'm working on that. I actually have Tyrael and Doc Brown because you can see I've got Wreck-It Ralph and then Marty McFly right underneath them. I've got Doc and Tyrael, but they're packed away. So I know they're going to have Next Generation, Star Trek Next Generation pop vinyls in like March or April. So I've got to get all those. So it's going to be fun.
I have several of them, and I just don't have. Jeez, my dad just sent me a text and said
Uh-oh.
the beard gets Mama Jules hot. Thanks, Dad.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm muting my phone, Father. Good Lord. Jeez. Oh, I'm going to come home with so many stories. You have no idea. I won't see what you're saying anymore, Father. Oh, that's too funny. Sound balance sounds good. I think it does. It sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything of anybody that's said we're not sounding good or looking good.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. I'm just testing my levels too. Check. Yeah. All right.
Sibilance. All right.
Sibilance.
Oh, the things you learn when your dad and mom have your phone on and you're talking to them before the show.
I know.
Yes, Chief. Because I mean, if people like the beard, usually it's because it's this like masculine. It's like feathers on a peacock. It shows you that you've got testosterone behind you, and you're really just like. Rrr. It still looks fuzzy. Okay. All right. Well, I can try turning on the rest of the lights in the room, and either that or you just call me right back. because it doesn't look fuzzy to me, but Kane's showing it on that
Let's
end.
see. I'm gonna look at Twitch and see. Yeah, it's just a touch
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Just a little fuzzy. Let me see if I can do something on my end about
Okay.
that in options.
All right.
If I can force it to autofocus.
Yeah, I see the stream has it just kind of a because you have a separate camera. Okay. It's funny because Skype looks really good. Like it looks really good on Skype.
Okay. Alrighty. I don't think there's anything on the lens to make it fuzzy, but I could be wrong because I did bring it back with me in the bag.
I saw it refocus. It's a touch better, but yeah. So we'll just roll with it. We'll go with it.
Yeah, it does still look a little funny. I was gonna say funny and fuzzy, and it came out weird.
That sounded like you swore.
I know. I know it sounded pretty bad for a second.
Woo!
Whoops.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh boy.
Well, that's a good way to start the show.
Hiya, folks. We'll be here all weekend.
I don't think he said
Funky.
funky.
The
I
camera's
heard
getting
something
funky.
else. Whoa. You
Yeah.
froze for just a second. It was like blur.
All right, I'm gonna try and. It may be something on the lens. If it is, I'm gonna clean it. I don't see any fingerprints.
No fingerprints?
Highest production value for your dollar here, folks. I did not swear 20. I would never intentionally say something like that on the air.
Oh, I know it wasn't intentional, but boy, you're...
Boy, did it almost happen.
That was great. Oh, that's
All right.
too funny.
Okay. Now it's back on.
It's back on.
Now, hopefully that looks
Back
better.
on.
If not, then I'm just going to be Brewfest Marconin. I didn't see anything on the lens. I just, was going to, just in case, try and clean
Waiting
it.
for it to come back up on the stream because it has nothing.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad. We'll roll with it.
Okay, I'll.
We'll futz with it next time.
Yeah, that is weird, because it looks good on ours.
Yeah.
I can probably. I'm gonna adjust it manually real quick.
See, this is what happens when you tell him these things. It's just not gonna go away until it gets fixed.
Okay. Okay, if it doesn't work there, then whatever. We'll just keep going.
I'm gonna watch it on the stream for just a second here.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it too. I saw it adjust something.
Yeah, it's adjusting in.
Okay, I think that's as good as I can get it for right now. I'll have.
That's fine.
I won't do the thing when turn off the lights and turn them back on next week. So
don't do that
or
next week,
time.
all right?
All right, I'm sorry.
All
Sorry.
right. Let's get ready to do a show. You guys ready? I know I'm ready. Marconan's ready. His camera's kind of ready. Yeah, he's kind of ready. Chat room, are you guys ready? I'm going to take a drink of water.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainmental purposes today, we have a fuzzy camera.
We will deal with the fuzzy camera.
We will deal with fuzzy camera.
Your camera has fuzzy britches.
It's a fuzzy camera.
All right. They are ready. The ready check is done. So we shall go in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Tauren Think Tank, the World of Warcraft podcast for you, the World of Warcraft player.
Welcome to episode 129 of Tauren Think Tank. Today is Saturday, January 3rd of 2015. It is the new year, and we are here. My name is Jules, and with me in his brand new digs, fuzzy camera or no fuzzy camera, we don't care, it's Marconin.
Welcome to the future, Jules.
The future?
Yes, your hoverboard is right over here.
What?
I will have it delivered to you immediately.
Come on
It
now,
is
how do I
2015.
get the hoverboard and nobody else on any form of social media got it? I mean, seriously, because everybody told us about it.
Because you're my friend and I want you to have a hoverboard, so we have one here for you. It doesn't work, but I have it.
Did you notice that you went about 4 different accents in that one little block, too?
I was trying it, trying out different outfits for the new year. That's what I was doing. So.
Oh, yeah. It's
you get
like
a
going
few
through
of
your
them.
closet right now.
Oh yeah, just like I don't need the sweater, I don't need the turtleneck, don't need the Hawaiian shirt. Okay, maybe I do need the Hawaiian shirt, so
need
yeah, might need that.
How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I'm doing pretty well. So far, so good this year. Only 3 days in, 360 3 to go, so something like that.
62.
It's not a leap year. No, next year's leap year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of year left to go, but so far it's going pretty well.
Excellent.
I did a couple things this week. First off, in WoW, my paladin turned level 100 earlier today.
Yay!
If you follow me on Twitter, you saw him dancing under the pale moonlight with a nice little "hello, ladies" look on his face.
How did you make that expression? What emote was that, by the way?
It's slash dance. It's just the regular slash dance, the Saturday Night Fever thing. The facial expression is just what they've added in with the extra character model polygons and such. So
Insanely
I kind of,
good.
yeah, I studied him. I got the shot lined up and I studied him for a little while. And as soon as he made that face, I hit the button and got it on there. So got my second 100. I know I'm slacking. Game's been out for like almost 2 months and only have 200. So I'm sorry, but that can't be helped.
That's your second one?
Yeah, it was only my second one, Marconin, and then my paladin. Yeah,
Why did I think you had 3?
no. Well, I've been working on my troll a little bit, but
Yeah.
my monk is at 92. So
Oh, that's probably
yeah.
why you've been working on your monk, and I thought you would hit that on 100.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
No, it's a little slow going for him, but he's next. Either him or my troll are next. Also, as you can see, I have the new studio. I was able to move rooms and kind of spread out. And so I've got my autographs from BlizzCon, from the voice stuff, and then the various nerd things behind me. So it's now got this full studio effect. And so I'm really glad I could build it and get it ready for the show tonight. So that's another cool thing.
It looks great. Your new studio,
Thank you.
It's got all the proper nerd cred behind you.
Yeah.
And lots of pop vinyl figurines.
Yeah. I had to, that's the thing the kids are putting in their studios these days, I hear. So so I got a couple Ninja Turtles for Christmas, so I had to put them up there. It's Back to the Future, and then of course all the WoW stuff is there too.
Oh yeah.
So had to represent. Got Deathwing right over my shoulder, as he usually is.
He should be there.
Yeah, he belongs there. But yeah, so I've got that, and what else? Oh, I went and saw Dancing with the Stars live.
That's right.
On
you were
Tuesday
going
night.
this week. So tell us all about it. Where was this?
It was at the Horseshoe Casino down in Tunica, Mississippi.
Okay.
It's about a 3-hour drive from here, and so we went, and Alfonso, the guy, I can't remember his last name, but he's the guy who played Carlton on
Ribeiro,
Fresh Prince of
Alfonso
Bel.
Ribeiro.
Yes, he was there. He was the announcer, and so it was him and about half of the dancers that you would recognize from the show. Of course, for the ladies, Val Shmerskovsky, the guy who always has his shirt off,
Yep.
he was there, and then the shorter guy that was with Sadie Robertson, I forgot his name.
Mark
The
Ballas?
dude
Was that
yes,
Mark Ballas?
I think so. Yeah, he was there, and gosh, there was so many other ones that were there, and now, kind of watched it on and off. But now, once they come into their 20th season this year, I'll be able to watch and be like, I saw them. I was like 10 feet from her and him and there, and just really kind of now I'm going to be more invested in
Yeah.
it than I was even before, when I enjoyed watching, occasionally the celebrities on there I'd like, and so and he did do the Carlton dance. He did it first thing. And he said later, he's like, everybody asks me, so I got it out of the way First thing. So now we can move on. Now we can move on to the rest of the show. And it was really cool. A few of them, including Val, they all played musical instruments and they came out and played. Val plays violin, and the guy you just said, I forgot his name.
Mark Ballas.
Yeah, he plays guitar and actually
Yeah.
has an album out. And
Oh.
so he played, and they had the violin, and people were dancing to it, and it was really cool. It was, like I said last week. I mean, even if you're not into dancing, you've got to respect the amount of dedication and concentration and proficiency that takes.
Yeah.
I mean, anything close to that, all those people are dedicated. They've dedicated decades, almost all their lives, to dancing, and that's just that sort of commitment is something to admire and respect. And so the music was great. The production was great. I had a great time, and I turned $2 in penny slots into $20. So had gas money for the way home. So there you go.
That's excellent. So was it just the professional dancers that were performing, or did they have the celebrities there too?
Well, they only had Alfonso there as a celebrity. The rest of them were the professional dancers. I was mistaken in thinking that there would be more.
Yeah.
But it didn't make for a less interesting show at all, because it was really a lot of fun.
Cool.
We were kind of crammed in there because I'm a broad-shouldered guy. I'm not very very narrow, and so I had this little bitty chair, and I was sandwiched in between a couple of people. But luckily, the lady was sitting on my right. She got up and left right before intermission. She never came back, so I had to lean over and half cheek it on one on one seat, because I was like, I wanted some more room, but I didn't want to. I had to spread out and be more comfortable. I had my shoulders kind of relaxed, so.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was quite a night. It was a long night. I didn't get back till 2 a.m. because the show went long, and then it was a long drive back. So long day, and then I had to be back at work at 7. So that was even more fun.
You're just trying to get ready to switch back to nights, aren't you?
Oh, it starts on Monday night. Yeah, 3 weeks of swing shifts. It's gonna be fun.
Not fun at all. Your perception of fun is weird.
It's also very sarcastic too.
That's great, though. I'm glad you had a good time. The couple pictures that you posted on social media were really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple. I got a couple good ones. My wife got a couple more good ones, better ones.
Yeah.
However the language works. But yeah, so I'll have to share those if I get the chance. But while I was watching dancing and dinging 100 and building, what were you doing the past week?
Well, New Year's Eve, we wound up going over to my friend Sherlon's house, who is our tank for the Cat on Fire raid team. And we had a pretty banging time because, this is the kind of thing where you go and everybody who's there has children. And we happened to have the oldest child, which was 11. And there was an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old there. And so the kids did pretty well playing off on their own, but we were doing our best to have their time so that they could celebrate and do all the little treats things, and then send them downstairs so that we could drink and play Cards Against Humanity.
There you go.
And once the drinking started, that's when things got very fun, and there were several pictures on social media that kind of showed that off.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I saw one of them anyway.
All I can say is champagne Jello shots, man.
Oh man.
And luckily, I can't drink very much because of my heart medication, so I was able to keep it under control. But it would be very easy to have just gotten really, really overboard with those really yummy Jello shots.
Yeah, they tend to sneak in because they're meant to be enjoyed like that.
Oh gosh, that was
it's just like regular Jello. I was like, I can't even stand up now. I only had 2 spoonfuls.
It was great though. We had a great time, and but Cat on Fire is doing really well. We are having so much fun. Mark Honan has been coming along with us for the times that he can until he has to go to nights. But the nice thing about raiding now is that you can flex around, bring your friends, and if they can't make it one week, they can make it another. And so we have gotten a good core of about between 12 and 14 people who can come regularly, and then probably about 3 or 4 that are going to kind of float in and out. And so we're doing normals, and we've got 5 bosses down out of the 7, and we're having a blast. There's no pressure. We're just having, and a lot of the folks who are on the team have mythic characters on other teams, and they're coming to hang out with us is the kind of fun night. And
yeah, it's the less stressful, less, less, like I said, less stressful night.
yeah, and it is so much fun. We laugh our fool heads off, and we kill bosses, and we get gear, and it's just like it can be more enjoyable. I just the only thing that I could do more is just if we could do it more than one night a week, but this schedule works very well for everybody. So but it's perfect, and I'm really, really happy with rating as it is right now, and the pressure is off. I did heroic and what was heroic rating last time, and it was a lot. So it was a lot, and
Yeah.
I feel really nice about it. So yeah, we're doing that, and then I had kind of a surprise come up this week. My parents got on Skype with me, and we were talking about some things, and they let me know that my grandmother, my mom's mother, she's turning 85 on the 11th of January. And out of kind of nowhere, the family decided to throw a birthday party for her on her birthday, which is a Sunday. And so they said to me, it would be so great if you could come to this party. We know it's last minute. We know that, but we will pay for you to come out here, and we will surprise her and not tell her that you're coming. I'm the
That's
oldest
cool.
grandchild. Yeah, I'm the oldest grandchild out of, I can't even think how many grandchildren she has. I think there's 15 of us. And
oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, it's a large family. And my mom is in the chat room. She'll correct me. I can't even remember how many cousins I have, Mom. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but we figured it out. And so I am literally leaving on, my mom corrected me already. Her birthday is January 10th, not 11th. Sorry, Mom.
One day off.
It's on Sunday. So so I am going to go out there. I am leaving after work on Friday. My flight leaves at 6:50 p.m. And I get there at 10 o'clock. And then I leave at butt crack of dawn on Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
And come home, get back to Madison around 9:30 in the morning, and I will get my bags, and I will get in my car, and I will go to work. And so,
don't even get Monday off.
no. So I could have taken it, but I just, it was like, well, you know what? I'll just go to work. And my mom just said, you have 8 cousins. Thank you, Mom.
January 10th and 8 cousins. Don't forget.
See, this is the details I'm glad she's here for, because I can't even remember anymore. So I will be going out to New Jersey next weekend, and unfortunately that means we will not have a show because I will not be able to do that. Can't stream from there. Unfortunately, I don't have the equipment to do that. So, but I will be reporting about my grandmother's birthday. And it sounds like it's going to be, I haven't seen my parents since Memorial Day weekend, so it'll be great to just even a whirlwind weekend to spend a little bit of time with them and with my family. So, yeah. And then my poor parents are going to Florida, to the Florida Keys the same day. So I'm literally, they're taking me to the airport and they're flying out and I'm flying out.
I don't know. Given the choice between Wisconsin or the Florida Keys, where would I rather go?
I know, right?
Especially this time of year.
Yeah, the snow is just starting to show up
it
here
is.
too. So it's just starting to show up. There's supposed to be some snow tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So just to let you guys know, there will not be a show next weekend. We thought we try to do something. I don't think we won't have the internet power to be able to do it. So, but we will literally just be here in spirit. So
yeah.
And I got some ideas for Mark Conan to work on while I'm gone, because I had a conversation. I had a conversation with Papa Jules about, you had said to me about maybe doing some kind of something with him. And he's like, tell him he can have at it. Absolutely. Papa Jules loves parody. So he would be absolutely. So I'm like, I've got some ideas.
Oh, yeah. You got to give me some homework.
Absolutely.
So while I'm doing homework, you have a fabulous time with Grandmama Jules.
I will.
That'll be a good time.
I will. It will be, it'll be hopefully an awesome time, and I'm really excited to be able to go see my family for at least a weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what's been going on with me, and with you, and couple little details for the show. Today is the last day for the Triple T Pen Pal program, the Triple T Triple P. And we have been getting some last minute entries in there, so that's great. We're over 60 people right now who have signed up for this Pen Pal program, and it keeps growing.
That's not a folks.
I know. So for those who are in the chat room tonight, you still have time to sign up. If you're listening live, by the time the download comes, it will be closed. But as long as everything goes fine, we have no issues, we will be doing this again, probably in a couple months. Do it again for people to get involved or to get a new friend. You know, maybe you're already doing this and you really enjoy it. You want to meet somebody new. So we're going to do it again, hopefully. And for the chat room, it's bit.do/triple T poster is the short link for that. And tomorrow is the last. I'm sorry, that was the poster. Bit.do/pen pal is that. I'm reading the two things in the difference. The poster giveaway closes tomorrow, which is the 4th. And that's bit.do/triple T poster. That's the Warlords of Draenor poster that Mark Honan has that he will mail to anybody who wins any place in the country or in the world. We will do this internationally. So,
yes, anywhere in the world, if you can get mail, you can get this poster if you win.
Absolutely.
So please sign up and enjoy. And congratulations to whoever the winner will be.
Yeah, and I'll be getting that winner get selected after. So on Monday, I will select the winner, and I will notify the winner and post it on social media. So there we go.
Yes.
All right. So Mark Honan, are you ready to do some discussion?
I say let's do it.
Let's do that.
Let's kick around some ideas, not gnomes.
Poor little gnome. Okay, discussion time. We had a letter, and this letter is from an anonymous woman named Katie Derry. Here is the letter she wrote us. So I'm listening to episode 125, and I was quite interested in the question about disclosing outside relationships. My interest wasn't because I disclose too much or don't respect my partner's wishes, but because I do. I'm asexual. This is a recent discovery, relatively speaking. I've known for less than a year, and I'm 27. I've been with my boyfriend for about 5 years. During this time, we've only had sex once, and it went poorly. He has respected my desire to not be intimate sexually, but he has requested that it never be disclosed to anyone who knows him. He says that his male friends would look down on him because he has not had sex in 5 years. I have honored his request. However, I now have a sexual identity that fits me and how I interact with the world, and I can't tell anyone about it. Because if I'm asexual, then it follows logically that my boyfriend isn't having sex either. It's not that I have loads of friends that I would want to tell, but my closest friend is a mutual friend of my boyfriend. So I'm asexual, and no one I know in real life knows. I respect my boyfriend and will continue to keep this secret, but keeping a secret like this sucks. Thanks for the thoughtful discussion on disclosure. It really hammered home that I'm doing the right thing for the sake of our relationship, even if it's hard to do so. Love to you both, from Katie Derry. So this letter that we got from Katie sparked an idea for me of a discussion topic, talking about why we fear what we don't know. Because when Mark Honan and I both read this letter, we were like, both of us kind of looked at each other and said, well, we don't have any relation. We can't relate to someone specifically from experience who is asexual because we aren't that way, and we don't really know anybody who is except for Katie. And so, but she lives in fear, as does her boyfriend, that they will be ridiculed or treated unfairly or discriminated against, or just all of those things because of them being different. And I when you extrapolate that, you extrapolate that to a lot of different things where it's information that you wouldn't see on the surface, for people who struggle with their sexuality in other ways, or who have interests that people don't find very acceptable in society. Like, in our culture, in our nerd culture, people who are larpers don't often get treated very kindly. People who are furries don't get treated very kindly in that respect. And so I find that the discussion kind of goes into, why do we fear what we don't know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just blow this door open, shall we?
Drop the mic.
I know, right? And so I understand. I mean, I think that when you get down to thinking about us as children, like babies, when you're at the very core level of instinct, babies fear strangers unless they are given a safe environment. I mean, most babies do have separation anxiety from their parent. They don't like to just walk, some of them are just like, whatever, I have no fear. But most humans have an ingrained instinct to not go after something that they don't know about, or somebody that they don't know about, without having some kind of comfort. And so if you don't have that training or reassurance or a situation where people support you to tell you it's going to be okay, you can venture out, it's not going to have a problem, then it where does tolerance come from? Where does that originate from?
Yeah.
So you live in the South, and tolerance has a rumored ugly term to it. A lot of people say that the South is less tolerant. Do you think that's true?
Well, I mean, you can broad brush it if you want, because there's no secret that that there's a long history of prejudice in the South, especially after the Civil War, with this before the Civil Rights Movement, and even since, because I experienced racism growing up, not particularly against me in any like frighteningly bad way, but I'm observant to it, and there is definitely an amount of it. Not everywhere. Just kind of depends on the places and the people you're with and around. Depends, and that's usually where it'd be, anywhere you're at geographically, just wherever you are, whatever circles you're running with, the people you're associating with, you'll get that attention. So, like I was saying, I've seen it. I've been observant to it. So I definitely had experience with seeing it happen.
With racism, though, unfortunately, you can't hide your skin color.
True.
You cannot hide who you physically are. So people observe that and therefore determine you as different in some cases, and then that's where racism comes from. But in a case where someone has something in their personality or their genetic makeup or something that's not physically obvious to someone else, so it's an interest or a sexual orientation, or things of that nature, when people are not tolerant of it, it's a really, I feel bad for Katie and her boyfriend, because
Absolutely.
they live a life where they don't feel they can be true to who they are without feeling threatened. And so I feel like, why does that happen is what I wanted to ask, is why does that happen to us, and why do people choose, obviously her boyfriend feels like, I'm okay with the life that I'm leading with you, but I don't feel okay with disclosing that to anybody because that's not their business. And there are some people who would be like, I don't care if it's their business or not. I'm going to be true to who I am. I'm going to be who I am, and everybody else be damned. And so I'm fishing around here to kind of find the point of, like, where does it break apart? When you're talking about racism, that's a physical, you see it, you notice a difference, and that's why the discrimination happens.
Yeah, it's a fairly obvious one.
Yeah, and so, but probably looking at Katie and her boyfriend, you would not be able to tell unless they told you what their difference was. Yeah. And so, do you think that we should be, like, I'll put my example. Like somebody recently told me something that was like, oh, that's different. Like not something I have any familiarity with. It's something that probably wouldn't talk about, in a casual conversation, but that's who you are, and I have no problem with it because I believe personally that whatever you do, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else, do your thing.
You do you.
You do you. But where did that attitude of mine come from versus somebody else who's like, holy crap, what do you mean you're this? What do you mean you're asexual? How could you not want to have sex? How could you not want to have a relationship with somebody? And it's just it is the very interesting, like how people react to situations, that dichotomy. For me, was I raised to say, you just do you? Yeah, I was to a point, but it also came from me. Where I was just like, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and say, you're not hurting me, so I'm not going to be upset with you.
Yeah. Well, I think that at the, like you were saying, your attitudes towards a person or group, like in this case with the asexuality, is either a fear of the unknown or an ignorance of it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I've never personally, I don't think I know anybody that's like told me that they were asexual.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about it. And if you look into it, well, then you get some education, and that leads to understanding, and that, that leads to, I guess, to the tolerance. It doesn't always lead to acceptance, but it leads to tolerance. Like, oh, I understand now, and I don't hate you for that.
Yeah.
It's not you're not pointing the finger saying I hate you because of this. You're understanding where they're coming from, and you may not always like it, you may not agree with it, but you're not going to hate that person just for that. You're going to still respect them as a human being, and that's something that you're either that like you said, you were taught, or you came to a conclusion on your own, or both. Sometimes you're taught that, and then you reinforce it yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where the difference is where I guess in the education front or in the understanding front. That's the biggest part, is understanding. Understanding doesn't mean liking. Understanding means just know about it. I don't like to go fishing, but I understand if you put the rod and the reel and the bait and you put it in there and you wait long enough, there's going to be a fish on the end of the hook.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And people like to fish. I personally don't do it very often, but
yeah. And it's a when it comes down to it, it's literally like but fishing is one of those things that is considered to be socially acceptable.
Sure.
It's not considered weird to go and fish. It's just, you go, you catch fish. Some people find it brutal, and some people look at it and say, yeah, you're just, you're killing these innocent creatures, and I don't support that, and therefore I don't do it. And some people go, I don't go fishing because I don't want my hands to smell like fish, or I want to touch a worm.
That's why I don't do it. How my hands smell like fish.
But and in the chat room, Min Twilight Realm said, in this case, it seems particularly odd for people to be judgmental towards them because they're probably not pushing their lifestyle on anyone else, where other choices often are pushed upon people. And I agree with that point, but the thing that I find, I guess, sad is that they just don't feel comfortable telling even their best friends that this is who they are.
And that's kind of interesting because it's kind of a flip side on the fear of the unknown. They're afraid of the unknown of what their friends are going to say or do when if they were to find out.
Right.
They're afraid of they're afraid of what their friends are going to say, but they don't even know what they're going to, it's kind of like it's multi-layered a little bit.
Yeah. But a true friend would accept you for who you are and let you do you.
Yeah.
Because they like who you are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be your friend.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say, you need to find friends that do understand or something, because if they're friends with you long enough, then it stands to reason that they like you for who you are and not parts, that kind of thing. Like, it might, there may be a little like bro stuff, like, what do you mean you haven't gotten laid in 5 years, dude? You get a little on the side, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
I don't know if it's like that kind of situation with his friends, but if they're, I mean, she's 27, if they're pushing 30, they're in their friends who are, I'm guessing, similarly aged, have lived long enough to where that, like, bro in a polo shirt with the backwards hat at the Saturday night club attitude doesn't dominate their day-to-day thinking
right.
anymore, and that they're a little bit more world wise, and they're more aware, and so that me like, oh well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How to, and that's, for me at that point, if they would be confident about it, I would ask them, non-invasive questions, but try to understand where they're coming from, and that's some, that's their friends is, so that's on their friends, and
Yeah.
so I don't know them, but yeah, it's just
Well,
it's a situation.
I think for this respect, there, as people, we want to feel like we are true to who we are. And
Hmm.
I mean, I know I do. I know that when I don't feel that I'm allowed or that I am in a position to be true to who I really am, it feels very constrictive. I feel like I'm, not playing to my strengths. I'm not doing me because I'm just,
Yeah.
and so living a life like that with your friends and, where if this is something that's an important part of your identity, which she says that it is, I identify now as a sexual orientation and this is an important part of my identity. And I get the sense that she would like to have the opportunity to talk about it with somebody, but that her boyfriend has dictated that for us to stay together in this relationship, then we need to not say anything to anyone or I will not be comfortable with it. This is the stipulation that I will need
Yeah.
in order to feel comfortable. And so, and that in itself makes her, I think, from what I'm reading, feel like she's not being genuine to herself because he's embarrassed.
Yeah, and it's not just the, she's getting it from the implied social pressure to not talk about it, but then you're getting the direct pressure from her boyfriend to not talk about it.
And
So you get
I'm
kind
not
of
saying
two
he's
fronts.
wrong in that he, it's how he feels. It's
Hmm.
how he copes with it. I think, is he has accepted that he loves her and he wants to be with her and that is the stipulation. But, it is also something where he is saying I don't want to disclose this to people who are close to me. I worry about that feeling of that backfiring on him in the future.
Yeah, like it may, it may feel good right now and it may help the relationship for now, but how will you feel another 5 years down the road, 10 years, 15 years, if you get married, how will that feel if you're still holding that in, if
Yeah.
you're still not talking about it, if she has no one to vent to about it other than her boyfriend, and well, she can't really talk about it to her boyfriend because he's the one she would be talking about. So
Right.
you can't really get it out that way. And when you hold in emotions, it festers. It's
Yeah.
it's it's like, it's like a rotten piece of meat somewhere. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm afraid of as well.
Yeah, and Zalalau in the chat room said that she could talk with him about professional help, for with her boyfriend, and I think that's fair. I think that, and I was going to talk. He said to talk to a professional. I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
At least just to have somebody. It also sounds like that you've found this identity, which I hope means that you found some support groups. And I'm gonna scroll back just a bit because Midnight had a great point in here.
I
There
think it
is
was
a community called AVEN, and their website is asexuality.org. I'm sure you already know it, Katie. But if you don't, or if you are somebody who is identifying as asexual and you need some help with that, that's another great resource for that. Um, but I feel like we are in this time of, which is such a very interesting time, where you think about 10 years ago, how less accepted just being homosexual was in our society, and how people, because people didn't understand. And I completely understand there's still a very, very long way to go. But our entertainment, our the television, movies, all of those kinds of things are now featuring gay characters as
Hmm.
main characters.
Yeah.
They're now featuring transgender characters as main characters that are getting huge recognition. That's progress to me.
Yeah.
And there's still lots of misunderstanding or lack of understanding or refusal to understand. But my theory is that the more we talk about it, obviously, the more we're going to be accepting of things, because it's just more, you gain more education. And when I received this letter, it was only the second time that I had ever heard of asexuality in my life. And so I actually, when I got the letter, I went down and I did some reading. And I just read about, and I went to the AVEN boards, I went to Wikipedia, I went to a whole bunch of places, and I just read because I wanted to know more.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, if you're like the person who you're sitting across, like if you sat across from me and you told me something about you that I was not familiar with, my inclination would be to ask you questions about it to help me understand. And a lot of
Absolutely.
people have foot and mouth disease
Yeah.
where they're going to be, if Katie sat down and crossed from somebody and they said, I am asexual, and they go, wait, what? What is that? What is that? And so you're
Yeah. What does
telling
that
me that
mean?
you don't want to have sex? What do you mean by that? And some people
Is
will
it that
just,
you can't or you don't? Is it a physical thing? Is it a mental thing?
yeah,
Psychological? Did something happen to you that caused this?
yeah,
And a lot of people don't want to talk about that because it's very personal.
yeah,
And so I think that's the good thing, like you were saying, I read up a little bit on it when we got that when I knew that we were talking about it today. So I wanted to come in, with a little bit of knowledge. And that's something we can definitely do. I mean, we could even do it with our smartphones sitting across from them instead of asking them personal questions. We have the technology.
yeah. And
So
that is something that's great about the society that we live in, is we can go and look it on, look it up and see what we find on the issue. But because people have that ability to just say something really unintentionally insulting or rude or too personal, or that kind of thing, just the thought, it's like this two-edged sword, where if Katie's like, I really want to talk to my best friend about this, but then I've got to answer all of these really uncomfortable questions about things that I don't really feel like talking about to try to explain it, how do you do that? And so obviously you go and you just say, we're just not going to talk about it, we're not going to discuss it, but I still don't feel true to who I am because I don't identify with people who aren't like me. And that's what makes it hard. So why do we fear what we don't understand? Because it's the lack of knowledge to be able to, I think it's a lack of knowledge to be able to talk about it educationally.
yeah.
I don't want to look stupid to somebody and go, huh?
Oh,
What did you mean by that? I don't get it. But
yeah.
I have spent a lot of my life because I love finding out things about that I don't know. I love to learn new things. I love to be educated and go, wow, I had no idea that existed, both
I'm the
good
same
and
way.
bad, about human behavior.
Hmm.
And I look at things kind of, I just like, it's like a sponge. I just want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more. And that also comes with an attitude of saying, you do you, and if unless it causes harm to me or someone else, I don't care what you do. Have your thing. And I know that there will be more people who have that thing as well.
Hmm.
So um did you have any thoughts about this? I've kind of gone in like 15 different tangents.
Well, I mean, like you were saying, it's just I think the fear of the unknown is something that's instinctual. It's something that's ingrained in us. It's kept us safe. That's why we didn't wander away from the campfires when we were hunter gatherers. That's why, we, they it kind of weeds people out, and so those people that do those things don't tend to be around very long. So the fear of the unknown is a safety mechanism, instinctually built into us, into our DNA, and by extension of that, we do have this fear, kind of like, that's not how it is in my world. So therefore, it is automatically either wrong or hateful or something
Evil.
that evil. It's automatically one of those things, and so you have to kind of step back from that, and at least like you don't have to like it. You don't have to even understand it really. Just as long as you know a little bit about it and you kind of it humanizes that person a little bit more when you understand how they feel. Like back with the civil rights movement and other stuff like that. There was, misconceptions about people and other stuff, and you learn that we're just people. That's all, people are people. And you just we put our pants on one leg at a time just like everybody else, and there's no need to use that as a reason to you just carpet bomb hatred on people. You can hate one person for something they do, even though being hateful is not really something I want to do, but you can dislike somebody for something about them, but not about them, but something that they do, but not who they are really. Like the race or something that it doesn't matter to you personally, and it doesn't hurt you physically. So there's not really a reason to do that. I know I'm kind of rambling at the moment, but it's
No,
just
no, no,
kind of
no. It makes perfect sense, and and I look at it and say, what is it that would be something, what are the things that we would just be like, that's evil, wrong, get away from me,
yeah,
things like, animal abuse and child abuse and murder
absolute,
and,
absolutely.
and
That's harming other people too.
right.
That's inflicting harm and you know evils, bad stuff on other people and other animals, and with the intent to harm, but they're still not doing anything to harm anybody else, with the other issues.
Right. I mean, and
But
it's
yeah.
just, but there are things that, especially when you get into some of the sexual preference realms, and then, when there are people who say, well, that is morally wrong or ethically wrong or that kind
Mhm.
of thing. And, or you talk about, then religion gets involved, which is a whole different part of it.
Yeah, it's multiple levels. Yeah.
Oh, it's not that simple. And I absolutely, I mean, I'm just saying for me, my lens is as long as you do not do harm to me, to someone else, or a living creature, or in some way, you do you.
Hmm.
And I'm totally cool with that. And I don't judge people for who they are. I want to know. It's sometimes really hard for me not to be like, tell me more. Like just tell
Yeah,
me
you just want to.
tell me everything because I want to know without making them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's not morbid curiosity. It's literally like help me understand you so I know how to interact with you in that way.
Hmm.
So yeah, I thought that was, it was an interesting perspective, and I feel for Katie and her boyfriend in the respect that they don't feel that they can be true to who each other are. My only hope is that they are happy together in the relationship and that they continue to be happy in the relationship that
Hmm.
they have agreed upon mutually. So
Hmm.
because otherwise then you need to look at the structure of your relationship at that point.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. But yeah, if you don't, if you don't have any resources, like we listed before asexuality.org to talk, if there's other people you want to talk to and try and work through this, or get some advice, or hopefully one day you and your boyfriend's friends will come around or get to the point in y'all's relationship where you're comfortable telling people and not fearing any repercussions that you might get.
yeah. And
That's the hope.
someday asexuality may be so much more mainstream discussion that opening up the conversation with people won't feel like such a tremendous like I have no idea what you're talking about type of situation.
Hmm.
Maybe someday it will. Um,
Yeah.
you just never know. So, thank goodness for the internet, though. Thank goodness for the opportunities to build and form and maintain communities of
Hmm.
people who can share similar experiences and help each other. Because that is most definitely something that this would be a great opportunity. And if you are listening to this show and you have questions about whether you are asexual or you think you might be, you know, this is stuff. There are people out there that are like you.
Hmm.
Because it is, I guarantee it. With everything that we talk about on this show, every single time, there are people who are going through the same thing that you are.
Hmm.
Um,
Or they've gone through it and they've come out stronger on the other side.
yeah, and it's amazing to me. I mean, the conversation we had last week about my in-laws, the letters that we received, people sharing their stories, and we will have one at the end of the show tonight. People sharing their stories and experiences about what they've gone through, and it obviously made me feel like I wasn't so alone. And it also reminded me that people go through a whole lot worse stuff than I do. So
Mm-hmm.
I never forget that lesson. So our discussion topic was kind of all over the board tonight, but that's okay. I think those are sometimes really, really helpful because you can take something out of them that might pertain to a whole bunch of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we just kind of threw a bunch of different tangents up on the wall and see what sticks. So
I've been using that phrase a lot lately. Throw it up on
Oh,
the
yeah?
wall and see if it sticks.
Oh yeah, I use it every once in a while.
God, I think I used it like 7 times yesterday. That's
Hey,
really
there you go.
So in any case, if you are interested in getting a discussion topic on our list, you can do so at questions@taurentthinktank.com. We get that on the email in there. We won't be here next week, but you can still send us emails and we will still see them. So please do so. That would be awesome. And we'll talk a little bit about Doghouse Systems.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of a story.
Oh yeah.
Last week, after we finished the show, I use XSplit to stream this show, and I had an update to XSplit that I applied to the system, and it upgraded the type of video file that I record onto my hard drive after I do the show. So I wound up needing to convert that video file into an audio file, and I downloaded a program that wound up putting a whole bunch of malware and spyware all over my computer on my doghouse.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Luckily,
No bueno, Jules. No bueno.
No bueno. I did not read the comments, and I should have read the comments to say this is a bad program. But in any case, I just dug into my doghouse system. I found system restore. It was already fixed for me. I just went back to before the update, restored my system, and everything was gone. Everything was gone. Of course, I scanned it 3 times to make sure, but it was really gone, and I was awesome. I'm like, thank you, Doghouse, for making sure my system worked. You know, obviously it's a Windows thing, but it's also my Doghouse being formatted the correct way. And took care of it without any extra crap on there. I love it. It's awesome. And I think you will too. So just another success story with a Doghouse system. If you want to check that out, you can go to doghousesystems.com. Enter the code TTT, that's TTT, at checkout. You get double the memory on your brand new gaming system with whatever size memory you pick. It's pretty sweet.
That's a really good deal.
I know. So
really good deal.
Awesome gaming computer, awesome system, great service. We stream this show every week on a Doghouse system. I gotta say, I'm pretty darn happy with it. I don't know. That's all I gotta say about that. So again, thank you guys for supporting our sponsor, and thank you, Doghouse, for supporting this show.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Now we got this transition all set. We're going to go into the think tank right now.
It's time for think tank right now.
Torn between options? Let Triple T help you sort it out.
Alrighty, we have a letter to read for the think tank, and I think this is going to be a good one. They always are. This one's different, though. We haven't done this before. Hey there, Jules and Marconin. Before I start, I want to thank you for the amazing job you do each week. My commute to work is never boring, and I thoroughly enjoy everything you guys put out. Keep up the great work. I am in my mid-30s, happily married with a large family. My kids range from 11 years old to 8 months. Earlier in the year, I lost my job. We had a new baby and things got rough. Everything came to a head when I spent a night in June in the ER, taken in via police because of a suicide attempt. Since then, I've been going to therapy and was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. I've been working hard on the depression with cognitive behavioral therapy, and my therapist and I feel I'm improving greatly. I haven't even had what we call a bad day in nearly a month. I spent a lot of time that I was out of work trying like crazy to get hired on at a local company's corporate office. I won't say the name, but everyone who is listening worldwide has heard of it. I've been trying to get hired here for years. Finally, in October, I had a series of interviews. I started there in the beginning of November, and I am excited and optimistic about the future. And that's where the problem comes in. The last 2 jobs I've had, I've been fired from. I have anxiety about what other people think about me, about my performance. It's not a social anxiety per se, as I am very much a leader of people. I've been a manager, I've spoken in public, I've worked in groups, and none of that bothers me. My anxiety comes in the form of worrying about what people are saying about me behind closed doors or when I'm not looking. I'm not worried about gossip, but rather that they've found some fault in my work. Sounds silly, right? The problem is, it's distracting to the point where it keeps me from doing my job. I get amazing reviews at first, even Employee of the Month once, and I always master my job quickly. I've even been tagged for management numerous times. The problem arises when I see my boss or others gathered in a meeting room or at another desk. Logically, I know they're discussing some aspect of the business, or maybe the game last weekend, or something else, but there's a nagging voice in the back of my head that says they're talking about you. That voice gets louder and louder the longer I'm there, regardless of the feedback. I start to worry myself sick. I spend more time watching their meetings or just staring at my screen, waiting for the summons to HR. I start to worry at home, and it impacts the family. I get physically ill and call in, or oversleep and come in late. Eventually, performance evaluations go down, and inevitably, I get the call to HR and walk out of the building with the stuff from my desk packed in a box. The first time it happened, it took 2.5 years. Last time, I was fired after 11 months. I've been in the current job for a month and it's been going great. I love the job, I love my team, and my managers are already talking about supporting my growth in the company. But it happened today. There was a meeting in the conference room at the end of the aisle, and the old twinge was back. I got the butterflies and started sweating. I even knew what the meeting was about. But the voice in my head said, "It's about you," and I couldn't ignore it. So what do? I've mentioned it to my therapist, and he's honed in on the depression and says the anxiety will sort itself out as the depression does, and if it doesn't, we can address it later. I want to believe him, but I've been trying to get on with this company for years, and I cannot afford to lose this job. How do I ignore the voice? How do I quell the crippling anxiety? What do I do to keep this job? Anything you can offer in the form of advice would be amazing. Thanks, and sorry for the wall of text from Torrance.
Never apologize for the wall of text. It gives us more information, and it leads to less of us assuming something that may be incorrect about your situation.
Yeah. And I did have to cut some of this out for length, but
Mhm.
he is a WoW player. His wife is a WoW player. They've been a WoW player for a long time. So they have a big family, but they play WoW and they do all these things. And they obviously listen to the show. So, Okay.
Sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy to me.
That's funny. It's what Kane said, too.
Oh, yeah?
I read this letter to him before the show, and he goes, "Boy, that sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it?" And if you don't know what that means, self-fulfilling prophecy means that if you start thinking that something is true, eventually you cause it to happen. You make it true. And so it is something where you're absolutely doing that to yourself. You're starting out awesome, and because you think you're doing badly, you wind up doing badly. And because you think they're talking about you negatively, then they start talking about you negatively because you're doing badly. It's that horrible thing about self-fulfilling prophecy. So I don't know if I've told this story or not, and I'm sorry if I have. But this year, my stepdaughter went into the 6th grade, and she changed schools. It was a different, she went to middle school, and there was an orientation that we went to, where the principal got up, a bunch of the teachers got up, and they kind of it was an orientation for the parents, but the kids were there with us. And the principal said, one of the big things that you're going to deal with your child is the feeling that they feel like everybody is talking about them, is thinking about them, is judging them. And they don't get that not only are they not doing that, they're so busy focusing on themselves doing the same thing that they have no time to worry about your kid.
Yep.
And this really resonated with me when I heard this from this principal. And I'm like, some of us never get out of that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to someplace and we think that everybody's eyes are on you. I think the only time that ever happens if you're in the movie theater with a bag or with a bucket of popcorn and you trip up the stairs and you explode popcorn all over people.
Oh yeah.
Then everybody's eyes are on you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just walking up in a normal coat and, whatever, and not drawing any attention to yourself, man, I hate to tell you, nobody cares.
Yeah, you might get the occasional like crowd glancing. People or people watching will glance, but it's unless you're attracting attention to yourself, you probably won't attract any attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And so part of it is a confidence issue.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is saying in your brain that you're not good enough, that you're not capable enough, and that people see all of the flaws that you think you have. And when you start to think that you have these flaws, all of a sudden you have these flaws because you stopped focusing on what you were supposed to do and worried about what you're not doing, or staring at your screen and making yourself sick and not coming in to do your job. So, and that voice in your head, that's depression.
Mm-hmm.
Depression lies. We've already kind of talked about that numerous times. Depression is this horrific voice that will say to you, I think you're worthless. I think you suck. I think you should just be out of here and not, why do you try? Why is it, it says all of these horrible things in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a disease. It is, and it's a bad joke in your head that is horrible. And I mean, I don't mean to laugh. It's just like, it's when people don't have depression, it's so hard to understand that. We all have some of this. We all have social anxiety to a certain extent. We always have some of us have more self-confidence issues than others. Some of us can sit on a microphone on a live stream in front of a bunch of people and do this, but may have horrible anxiety before it ever starts, or after it ends thinking, oh my God, I was such an idiot for saying that. Why did I?
That was my tryout. that was me after both tryouts. I was like, oh, why did I say that? Why did I do this? Oh gosh.
And that's the thing. We are so hard on ourselves when we don't have depression. And when we do, it is absolutely horrific what it does to you. So I am wondering, for Torrance, are you getting any medication treatment besides cognitive behavioral therapy? Is there any medication that's been offered to you or options for you if that's the road you want to go down? So there's a lot of, I personally don't really think that medication is the be all end all answer. But if this is to the point where you are just, you are so crippled by this that you are losing your employment, then something needs to change so that you don't repeat those same mistakes again. I'm reading the chat room.
The breezy, that's my dad.
That's your dad?
Yeah, and he's been a manager. He's worked in offices for decades, and he's been above people and below people. So he's been in an office environment. So he's a lot more experienced in that than I am. And he says that this is a very common thing. So you're not the only one that feels this way, Torrance. So don't even think about that.
I'm sure you've had this feeling. I've had this feeling.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, my dad even worries about it. He said, just do all you can to perform your job the best you can. Try to relax and put those thoughts out of your mind, which I know is extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
I added that part in. Your mind is putting you past it. Your mind is putting you past in your forefront.
Yeah.
Relax and don't let your thoughts overtake your emotional stability. Meetings without you being present could, and almost 100% of the rest of the 100% of the rest of the closed door meetings are not about you. Do your best and forget the rest and feel confident in yourself. You have talent and are unique. No one like you anywhere.
Yeah. That's a great message. Thank you, Papa Conan.
Yeah. And Nevermore has suggested putting a memento on your desk that reminds you to take a deep breath and focus and trying to, you are a cog in a very big machine. You are a vital cog in that machine. So, that's maybe a picture of your family, to remind you how desperately you do need to keep your job. Maybe part of your interests, something to take you out of this headspace of worry and maybe just kind of like if I had a desk, I would put something like WoW related or Star Trek, or I put a little TARDIS by my, something that I can always look at and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
and kind of take you out of that place for a moment.
I had something similar to this week actually at my current job. I have not been very happy at my job for the last probably 6 months or so, mainly because of we're a small startup company, and we are struggling a bit with trying to grow past so that we get to where we're actually making more profit than we are in our expenses. And we are lucky enough that we have a support system to be able to keep that going for us for the time being. But there's a lot of like very aggressive decision making that happens to try to find the right thing. And I have not felt for quite some time that I've been able to express my opinion because no one seems to want to hear it. And I tend to be the kind of person that when they come up with this kind of cockamamie scheme to come up with an idea, that I'm going to be the one who says, well, wait a minute, did you think about this? Did you think about this? Because it's partly who I am, and it's partly how I've been trained. I worked in corporate America for over 15 years. It's like they train you to look for the contingencies so that you don't make some uneducated decision and then wind up costing the company thousands of dollars. So I tend to be the devil's advocate. I tend to be the one who says that. And for entrepreneurial minds, that is very, very, very hard for them to sometimes grasp. And they're just like, oh, stop it. Stop being so negative. And I just be like, no, I'm trying to help you see all the sides of it. I think your idea is valid, but what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? And
we gotta have a backup plan.
Right. You made the same mistake before and you don't want to make it again. So what would you do differently? And I just stopped caring for a while. And yesterday, actually, I sat down with my two coworkers and I laid it out on the table. And I said to them, I worry, especially when my one coworker, she talks about everybody. And I said, I worry because you talk about all these people, but you never actually tell them what you are thinking about them. I wonder what you say about me behind my back. And I was honest about it, but I was also kind about it. And I said, it worries me. I worry about, I want you to tell me if I'm not doing what you want me to do, because I can't change it if you don't tell me. And she she just got this stricken look on her face, and she was like, oh, Jules, I am so sorry. I understand. And, she did tell me a couple things that I did that she didn't like. And I was like, hey, I'm appreciative of this. Tell me this and we can work on it. But don't walk around and say, all of these things about other people. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell does she say when I'm not here? It's horrible. And if I think about it a lot, it makes my gut fall to the floor. I feel anxious and sweaty. That heart racing feeling, you just don't want to, you lose focus at your job. So for Torrance, I say to you, what I did is I stood up to it and because I could. You are in a position where you are in a brand new company, you are proving yourself. And so, if there are things that you can do with a manager that you have, where you can actually sit down with your manager and have what I would hope is to be an honest conversation and do what I did, which is to say, I want to know, honestly, if there are things that I am doing that you are not pleased with, because it really is important to me to know what I can do to fix them, because I can't fix things that I'm not aware about.
Yeah.
And if a manager is worth their salt, they will do this before you ever ask them to. But there are a lot of people who are bad managers and will not do this without thinking about it, or someone saying, it's how I live my life. If you don't like me, I would like you to tell me why you don't like me before you would just tell me what I can do to fix the problem, or we can work together, because I can't fix what I don't know.
Exactly. You can't fix what you don't know is broken.
Yes.
That's how I am too. If somebody, dislikes me for something that I didn't even do or didn't know I did, I would want them to come tell me so I can be at least apologize. Like, I didn't know I did that. how do I fix that? Let's fix
Yeah.
that. Let's move on. And when you were saying to talk, that's one thing that I didn't think of, is for Torrance to actually ask his management. You can leave out the whole I have a voice that tells me, all that personal stuff. Just ask them, is there anything in my job that I can, what do you think, where can I improve? At least be proactive in showing that you've got that drive, that initiative that you have, and that you've got in you, or else you wouldn't be as successful getting all of these positions and doing so well already.
Yeah.
And that will possibly help you out in getting this positive reinforcement. Don't wait for them to fire you. Run up and take the bull by the horns and make sure that you are valuable enough to not get fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, that's, show that you've got that, show that you're the hardest working person there, and you're the one who wants to be there the most.
Yeah.
And that's a way that you can, it's not directly combating the issue of, what's going on in your head, but it may be in a roundabout way. It'll help you deal with it in a way that, no, I went to my performance evaluation. They told me this, and that. Maybe write down every time that you get a positive piece of feedback at work, and keep that on your desk as well, or keep it with you as a way to, if you have to say it like a mantra or something, and any kind of thing that you can do to put you in a better, positive realm in your mind will help this, I think.
Deekshin made a very, very a great point, something that his dad taught him as a kid. He said, my dad said, the way a person talks to others to you is the way they'll talk to others about you. And I think that is wholly true in most situations. Absolutely. If you've got somebody who is going to tell you all the crap about other people, they're telling other people about your crap. And it's what they do. It's how they function. Now, going to, your manager and talking about that and gaining the good feedback is an awesome idea, and writing it down and having it for you, because we've talked about this before. The bad stuff is easier to believe in your head, especially when you have depression. But the anxiety can be quelled, I would hope, by you taking control of the situation in a way to say, I am talking to you and saying to you, I want to know what it is I can do to improve and be a better employee and fix anything that you might not be pleased with. And it takes that pressure off of you, because if they don't do that, that's on them now. It's not your fault anymore, because you put yourself out there and said, I am willing to make changes, to be a better person, to be a bigger person, and say, tell me honestly so I can fix it and we can move on. And that is something that I take a very large weight off my shoulders when I do it. It's really hard to do it and not feel anxious, but man, it can change the whole game. And so that's one thing. The other thing too is that as an employee, you are like the gem of the gems. If you go in there and proactively tell your manager that you want to do the best job you can, and you're willing to take feedback, like you're asking for feedback, I can count on one hand, when I was a manager, how many employees did that and actually wanted to receive honest feedback. That is rare, and it is treasured. So, dude, totally. On one hand, I can count it. And so I feel like, there's a continuing therapy that needs to happen. Obviously, this.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would also pursue this more with your therapist. They feel that focusing on the depression will help the anxiety, but this is a very specific scenario that I think you are entitled to explore more with your therapist and say, I am worried that I'm going to lose my job because of the repeated behaviors of the past. And I want to change this current situation so that I don't do that again. I don't want to repeat these problems. So I think that you're doing all the right things and your concerns are in exactly the right places. And you want to make this change because you wrote this letter. You don't want to repeat the past. So these are some of the things that we can offer as options for you. But your therapist is going to be the person that will kind of make sure that it all stays, in your treatment plan, which is important. So, but hopefully some of our experiences may help a little bit. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up with this one?
No, I think just the points that we covered earlier, about definitely seeking help, and there's suggestions from the chat room about ways to think about it and
Yep.
taking the initiative with your boss and putting a reminder on your desk of the positive reinforcement and of how, if you absolutely have to have this job, this try and let that logical part of your brain speak a little louder than the depressing negative part.
Yeah.
Try and have that voice, give that voice a big megaphone if you need to,
Yeah.
or try to. I'm not sure how it would work, but
Yeah,
yeah.
how I quell my anxiety is I take control of it. Because I deal with anxiety all over the place. And it's sometimes in the weirdest places. Like I went to the dentist this week. The dentist causes me the most irrational, stupid anxiety. And it's horrible. Like, it is really horrible. Because I had bad experiences when I was a kid. And so I hate the dentist. Like, hate it. And I had to go get my teeth clean. And now it sounds like I might have to get a root canal, which is like the most nightmarish thing in the world because I've never had one. And I am literally sitting in that chair with my shoulders up to my ears, with my hands in my pockets and balls and fists. I mean, it's just like, and I go home. I go home and I tell Kane about it, and I said, "Just give me a hug, like, just hug me,
hold me,
literally."
Hold me. Yeah.
And I had to breathe, and I had to, I literally had to just like sit there and breathe it out to just get it out of my system because I was so like. Ugh. But we all deal with anxieties, we all deal with issues, we all deal with that, and the way that I dealt and have dealt with work anxiety is to try to take control of it. And try to by taking control, it was to say, I'm going to sit down with my coworkers and, hopefully they're going to accept what I have to say. I am lucky that the two of them are very open and they're very, they are accepting of honesty, and that they, and I started the conversation off. I said, number one, I apologize for getting emotional because I'm going to get emotional. And I cried through the whole thing. And number two, I said, I am going to try really, really hard to not say something hurtful. And please know that if I do, it's not intentional. It's the emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I made it real, and we went and we got through it, and everybody hugged it out, and it was great. So,
Something tells me if I tried to hug it out with my boss, he wouldn't like it very much.
Yeah. The testosterone, estrogen environment.
It's a little different, a little different.
We don't have we deal with this environment in my workplace where we laugh that heaven forbid we ever got an HR department because sometimes it's so inappropriate. So.
Oh yeah, I did get an email this week though. I'd gotten some positive feedback at one of the stores that I worked at, and that goes out to all our team.
Nice.
And the email was like, congratulations, Mark Onen, or something, and he's like, not bad for some Alliance scum at the end because he plays Horde. He plays Horde, and so I was like, oh, come on, I have a troll.
That is the best kind of feedback you could have gotten.
I know. I was like, thanks, boss.
That's really awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Very cool. So, to Torrance, I really hope that you have a good opportunity to focus on the situation at hand. Hopefully we've helped a little bit to give you some perspectives that might help you. And we want to hear back from you. We do. We want to hear back from you. My mom just said in the chat room that I got her dental anxiety. Absolutely. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter how good they are, how nice they are. I'm still a nervous freaking wreck when I go to the dentist. So.
My uncle was my dentist growing up, and so I was never nervous. And now my mom works for a dentist, so it's all I've had this family connection. So the dentist really themselves doesn't put me in any anxiety. But yeah, I could understand it.
Ugh.
For sure,
just make it go away. Like, even the thought, it's like, just make it go away.
Yeah, she's got like the shivers on the camera. She's like, yeah.
So please send your non-dental questions to questions@taurenThinkTank.com to contribute to the think tank, to be a part of the discussion, and give us something to talk about for the show. Thank you, Torrance. Thank you, everybody who contributes to the show in all the ways that you do. And with that, we're going to switch some gears and get to some Tell Us One Thing.
Yeah.
We read your submissions because reading your mind would just be creepy.
off, good sir.
All right, first off the plate from Memonth. New year, new food. What Azeroth dish would you add to your regular meals? Bonus, what dish would you only eat on a dare?
This is hard for me because I don't pay attention to the food in the game.
You just pay attention to the buff,
Yeah.
whatever buff it gives you.
Well, at this point, it's just literally like there's a feast in a raid. Sit
Yeah.
down, eat it. You know, I like the fact that they change the visual of it each time. So I don't know. I mean, tell me what some of the food is if you know.
Oh gosh, there's so many different things. Like any kind of it's a mystery to me too because I mean I'm a mage. I make my own food.
Yeah, you make
So I mean
biscuits now.
I think is it biscuits or strudel? I think strudel was last expansion. It might be mana biscuits. I don't know. I mean, for me, like my answer would be the seafood magnifique feast because that was the feast for what was it? Was it Pandaria or was it Cataclysm that had seafood magnifique? Because I love seafood and it had like a lobster and all that stuff.
Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. That would be my answer because I like seafood. So if it was lobster, crabs, shrimp, I'd do that.
They're saying in the chat room that mana fritters are the conjured. I love mage tables now, by the way. And they're all saying Cataclysm, which is good. So that was seafood magnifique. I don't think I would be okay with that. I don't like big things of like big pots of seafood and where it's all there together. I like, seafood that I can actually taste each individual piece of seafood. So
but then all the flavors got to get together and marry each other. You get this whole big it's so good. So good.
You're weird. Tastes like fish.
Well, then you're doing it wrong.
I know. So I don't know. I guess the seafood magnifique would be the one I would eat on a dare because I'm just it's like
there's like a chocolate cake too. I know they have like the delicious chocolate cake.
There's one. Okay, I just started working on my fishing, by the way. I haven't leveled my fishing in years. So I decided to start use the garrison quests to level my fishing, right? And there's a one of the baits for one of the types of fish that looks like a donut. Do you know what this is? Have you seen this?
I haven't really done any fishing yet this expansion. I did a little bit, but I haven't really worked on it at all.
You guys need to. The chat room knows what this is because the icon looks like a donut, and I'm like, that is the most deceiving. It looks like a chocolate glazed donut.
Donut.
I know, it's like donut. The fat sleeper bait. Thank you, 2020 site. That's what it is. And it looks like a chocolate donut.
Hey, this donut hurts.
Yep, they're all saying fat sleeper bait. Fat donuts, the title of the show.
Oh man,
it's too funny. So yeah, fishing, man. I'm ready to just want to tear my hair out, but I'm doing it because this is one of those things where I got a bug on my butt to do it. So now I'm gonna just go do it every day.
And there's that one food. Oh gosh, I don't know what it is in. Oh shoot, what's the name of that zone in Northrend? Zuldrak. Yeah, in Zuldrak, where we turn into the ghoul as part of the quest line, and you talk to like a Stitches type of vendor, and there's like entrails and something that you could eat. That's the thing I wouldn't even eat it on a dare. That was my bonus, and I wouldn't. You can't even get me to try that. I'm sorry.
No
entrails and random body parts and ugh.
No.
No thanks. Ugh. Gross.
Mammoth, you make the weirdest questions for us, I swear. We love them anyway. From SM Gamion, what is the one add-on you refuse to play WoW without? For me, it's Bagnon.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think which ones. I could do the easy route and say a recount because I gotta know where I'm performing on the meters and if I need to do better.
Yeah.
I could do that, but Mogget. I'll say Mogget. Yeah, I love Mogget. I got to know what the clothes look like, and I can't be bothered to put it on or try it in the little paper doll window, just this character window.
Yeah, I have Mogget. I use it.
Yeah, I love it. Going back and soloing old raids every week, I can just just hover over everything and see what it looks like, see if I want to keep it or vendor it or what.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's one of the essential add-ons.
So for me, it's gonna be oh, why did I just blank on it? It's my healing add-on. My brain literally just went blank. So
Is that I don't play healer. What's it called?
shoot.
There's two big
someone's
ones,
gonna
isn't
remember
it?
this for me. All right, it'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. So I will. So the one thing that I really like though is tidy plates. Tidy plates is
I like that
really,
one.
just for questing, being able to see what debuffs and spells I have on them. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kane. It's voodoo.
Of course it'd be the voodoo. What else could it be?
I literally had the biggest brain fart right there, dude. That was like, I cannot think of this. It's because I'm getting old.
How could you forget the voodoo, Jules?
I'm sorry. My dear Vol'jin, I'm sorry.
I forgive you this time.
Okay, thank you. So it would be voodoo for me. Kate knows what add-ons I use, so that would be the big thing. I really, and when I thought I was going to have to switch to Healbot from Voodoo, I was really not happy because there was such a memory leak in Voodoo before they patched it, and then they kept it going between Pandaria and now it was like, oh, you're not gonna have Voodoo anymore. You're gonna have to switch. And I started using Hailbot, and I'm like, I miss Voodoo. I want it back.
Yeah. That's how it was with I still haven't gotten that X Pearl replacement yet.
Yeah.
I'm still using the stock UI. I'm just used to it for now, but eventually I'll get back to it whenever I can't be bothered to do that right now, but
That's
eventually
a
I
great
will.
Reminder. I used to use X Pearl like
Mhm.
that was it, and I haven't they haven't replaced it, have they?
Well, I think it was Z Pearl. Somebody was going to start up using it again, but you have to copy like your folders over from the X Pearl folder to the Z Pearl folder manually.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not, you can do it, but I don't know if they've got an easy thing for it. I haven't really played with it much, so
Yeah.
I'll tweak at it tonight since I got to swap back to nights. So I'll tinker with it, and if I find out anything, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that used to be my raid UI.
Me too.
And so
All the time.
Yeah, and so when I switched to using Voodoo, when I switched to using a healing add-on, that's when it just kind of, I wound up just kind of tucking it aside. And then X Pearl didn't work when Warlords came out, so I just disabled it and uninstalled it. So yeah, I'm trying to think of any other add-ons that I really would want to not do without.
There was one that I really liked called Nice Damage. It changed the font on your yellow damage to like the same. It was a very similar font to the Star Trek Next Generation font. So it was really kind of cool looking.
Nice.
So that's another one that I enjoyed using.
Yeah.
It was just very light, didn't do really anything else, but it just looked cool.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our add-on things.
Mm-hmm.
Want to read the next one?
Yes, from Lord Melvin. Blizzard turns your jobs into new professions. What epics could you craft, and what mats would you need?
So my job would mean that I was making, well, I mean, I'm an office manager, so.
Inscription it is.
I know. It's like, wait a minute. Kind of the jack of all trades, writing orders and invoicing and accounting and IT tech, and I don't know what that would be.
Leather gauntlets of accounting.
Leather gauntlets of accounting. But we sell eyeglasses, so I could be, the Azerothian optician.
There you go.
There you go.
You give the engineers a run for their money on those purple goggles.
Well, it would be the design.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Vol'jin's got it. Chief Vol'jin says I do work orders.
Hey, there you go.
I do. Garrison management. Good job, you guys.
Yep.
Myath in the chat room got that one right. That's good. How about you? What would you be? You'd be an
Oh,
organizer.
Gosh. Oh gosh. Well, I redo building floor plans and stuff. So it would be kind of along the lines of engineering, I would think. I'd be the guy that would be moving around your buildings in your garrison, moving the
Ooh.
positions around. So, hey, if you need me to move your gem boutique from the left side to the right side of the road, I'm your dude. Just give me an hour and a bunch of resources, and it'll be ready to go. My boys are ready.
I love it.
Let's go.
All right, you're a garrison architect.
We've got the garrison stuff on lock, I think.
I guess we do.
Basically, Gazlo. Yes, I'd be Gazlo.
That's a really good question. Thank you, Lord Melvin. I like that one.
I like that one too.
From Pan's Folly, what is the one resolution you should have made for 2015 but decided against it?
1080p. Sorry.
I had that moment of what? Oh!
The silence was
There was
golden.
a little bit of a Jokerang effect there. It literally just came around and it knocked me in the head.
Oh,
It
goodness.
really wasn't that funny, but it was funny because I didn't get it.
Well,
It was funny.
well, it was just one of those that just came womp womp. Oh boy.
Oh, the chat room's giving you
Uh,
I'm going, what?
Okay, so what's the one resolution I should have made for this year, but I didn't?
Decided against it.
Oh gosh. Honestly, I haven't really made any. There's the generic, I want to be healthier, and I'm really wanting to do that and be better in shape and just being healthier.
Yeah.
So there's that one. Finding a new job, that's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But those are just ones that I'm constantly working on. So I didn't really nail one down as a resolution. I didn't really, put pen to paper and say, I will do this in the year 2015. And so I'm just kind of like, so I don't really have any. Do you have any?
Well, I don't really I don't write down a New Year's resolution list or anything like that. I've never really done that. But as the year turns and I start looking at certain things, I say, okay, this year I'm going to be better about doing this. I'm going to be better about doing this. So for one of the things that I vowed to be better at this year was to be much more, much quicker on doing the finances especially for this show. Making sure that I'm on top of it. Payment goes out, it goes in the spreadsheet. Payment comes in, goes in the spreadsheet. I would just sit there and let it pile up for months and not care. So be better about my business, because that's one of the things that I'm doing. And then things, I tend to think about things that are going to push me outside of my box. And so that's more about the resolution that I made. So I'm thinking about maybe I should take a jewelry making class this year. So I've been thinking about doing that, to try and just broaden my interests in a little bit so that I'm not just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I resolved to do, is to let me think outside the box a little bit, find something different, and not do the same thing that I was doing last year. I don't really make specific resolutions.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Is if my schedule ever lessens, or I get a new position to where I'm not traveling or anything, I'd like to dabble in video editing, because I still do those. I want to get back into the audio segments for Mount Up that I used to do, but I'd also like to do video components. I've had storyboards drawn up in my head for years, but just haven't had the time or the horsepower behind the computer to do it.
Yeah. So
if I can get that lesson up, I may try and bring that to YouTube or wherever. So we'll see on that one.
Yeah, and so it's things for this show, we want to do more songs. We want to create more songs. And so maybe it's a goal that we make to say once a month we're going to produce at least one song, or something like that. And if that's too ambitious, then we talk about it. But it's talking about the things that are important to us, instead of just saying, and that's how I do it all year long, is this is something that I think we should do, or I should do, versus this is what we want to do. And Kane and I have been talking about, getting new desks for our gaming office for almost a year, and keep putting it off. And I'm like, we should just do it. When are we going to go do it? And then we get distracted and something else comes up. And it's it happened today. It's just I'm like, we should get the desk. He's like, well, we should look at our finances. All right, start go down that rabbit hole. And then you're just like, oh. And then we're off doing something else. So yeah, the point is we could go and get the desks, and then it's just putting the wheels in motion. So, so yeah.
Let's see, what's the next one? There's the resolution joke. Okay. This one's from the creepy one. A coworker decides to try WoW. What race/class do you recommend? How do you try to show them the ropes?
Oh man, this depends though if like it's a male or a female coworker for
Mm.
me because I work with mostly females. Um, I think like the one coworker that I have in mind who would be trying it, she would want the prettiest character, so she'd probably get a night elf. And she'd probably want to hit things as hard as she could. So she'd either be a warrior or maybe we could teach her monk. Monk isn't that hard. So just kind of, but I don't know. It really just depends on the person, I think. And to try to teach them, to show them the ropes, it would be more about just like the basics of like, here's how you start progressing forward in your character. This is how this is what a quest is. And, not even focusing on things like auctioning or professions or
Yeah, don't even worry about that.
no, it's literally like, how do you play this game to make it go?
Mm-hmm.
Make it go. So
Make it go.
yeah, so that's what I would do. How about you?
Well, I've actually had this experience where I've gotten coworkers into WoW, and what I did for that person is I showed I could tell they were the kind of person that I was like either they already play WoW or they need to start. And so what I did was I introduced them to all the cinematics in order with giving them a little bit of context, and then I showed them all the races. I was like, "What do you want to be?" And just let them choose. And I was like, and then I would just go through all the classes and say, this is what this class does. This is the spirit. Because, this is a role playing, it's a MMORPG. A lot of people forget the RPG part and they want to see, who are they?
Yeah.
What kind of player are they? So I would show them. And, since we're experienced enough with the game, we know what the essence of each character class is. We can say this is a paladin. He's a holy avenger. He is a justice warrior for good. This is a warlock. He summons demons. He's not necessarily evil. He's just a necromancer or a demon, summoner guy. And just
He's not
give him
evil.
just. He's not necessarily evil because there's good warlocks like Ro, but there's a few of them, and so you could just. So I would just give them the spirit of each. Explain to them what the class is, and just let them decide who they wanted to play as. And okay, well, I know a little bit about, hunters or priests or monks. And it's like, this is what I can show you. And any questions they would have, I was like, just ask and I'll tell you, or I'll find out for you.
Yeah.
Just be there to help.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. I mean, obviously now it's very difficult to know where to start with somebody who's never seen it before until you sit down with them and just see what they would like to play. Because you want them to be hooked in. You want them to stick around with it.
Oh, yes. I want you to stay. The first month is always free.
From Turbo IRL, what is your most memorable in-game moment of 2014?
Oh, man. Let's see. Probably taking down Garrosh on normal so that I could get my wolf mount.
Yeah.
That's, finally getting him down with Savage Cherry Tomatoes, my raid team from last expansion. It was so cool to finally, we'd been working at it for a long time. And, I really wanted that mount. That's the only one that I couldn't get. I needed it. And to finally get it, I mean, it rivaled the first Arthas kill for me 2 weeks before Kata launched. That was just, it rivaled that for me. So the first time I downed Gary and got that wolf, I was like, yes.
I love that wolf. That is a great mount.
It really is.
It's a very cool one. For me, it was going in to see if I could solo Ashes of Alar by myself. Solo, obviously makes sense. I never done it before, so I went in there and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and and then I wind up figuring out how to kill Kel'Thas, and the mount dropped, and I got Ashes of Alar, and I went, and then the screams that came out of me when that happened, Kane was I was literally squealing. Yeah, that's my most memorable in-game moment is seeing Ashes of Alar drop the very first time that I went in to do this solo.
Hmm.
Like, yes, yes. So yeah,
That's
it was
cool. That is
awesome.
quite an accomplishment, though. Finally getting that thing. Oh man.
I love it so much, and it shows up in my stable all the time, and it makes me so happy because he's right there. He's like right
Just
there.
sitting, flying around, eating hay. You're like,
He's so
hey,
happy.
hello, Ashes.
You're eating hay, hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
Go ahead, read the next one before we kill each
All
other.
right. All right. I think this is this the last? No, this is next to last one.
Next last.
Yeah. So, this one's from Deek Shun. For some reason, all of Blizzard's games go offline for a while or forever. What other games would you play?
I hmm, I think I would play a lot of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Hmm.
I really enjoy that, and I probably get pretty good at it if I actually put the time in to do it. It's really fun. It's a fun multiplayer. I would be playing. I would dig into some other games that I just don't put my time into right now. Dragon Age Inquisition is just kind of waiting there. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
waiting at the point where it's just going to be quieter and I don't have as much to do in WoW, which doesn't seem to stop right now. So I just kind of continue on, and I know that there's going to be a sale and I'll wind up getting it cheap and then I'll wind up playing it. So
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I there are even some of the Batman Arkham games were really
Mm-hmm.
good, but I just didn't get into them as much because I always got distracted by something else. So I'd probably do that too. Yeah.
That's good. That's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp. I don't get to play consoles at all
Yeah.
because it's strictly just desktop laptop for me. But what I would I've it took me almost 2 years to play Infamous on PS3 and get through it. And I love that game. I
Yeah.
love just shooting lightning out of my hands at things and blowing and destruction. And yes, I love it. And so I would go and I would play Infamous 2 and I'd get a PS4 and do like Infamous Second Son. I would get into the Mass Effect series as well. I'd play Last of Us. There's so many titles that I want to play, but in the same boat, I not enough time in the day, not enough free time. WoW takes all of my gaming time. That's why, I was talking to a coworker and he's a big console gamer. He buys almost every new game that comes out. He drops like $180 a month on games. That's only 3 titles for retail price. And so, and I'm like, man, I got a game that every 2 years I spend, $80 for the collector's edition, and then I only pay $15 a month for.
Yeah.
And my entire gaming is satisfied. I mean, I've got Diablo, StarCraft, Hearthstone. Hearthstone's free though,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can play
Unless you
that
buy
on the
cards.
side. And yeah, unless you buy cards, I buy some. But yeah, I mean, it's I've got enough going on in the Blizzard world to where I don't have to venture outside of it, even though I do want to. But
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
ever get a free moment or it quiets down, like you said, then I'll give it a shot. I do play Jetpack Joyride a good bit on my phone, which is a really fun game.
That is a good game. I've played that many times. I actually sat down during Christmas weekend and I played the first episode of the Game of Thrones Telltale game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it is fantastic. I love Telltale games, the RPGs. The only one I really
Mhm.
just can't play very much is The Walking Dead because I just can't deal with the zombie thing. So, but it's not a bad game. It's just me being a freak about the zombies.
Yeah.
So, I
I
really
have
have a problem with zombies. I do. It's really hard for me.
Well, I know a few people that do, so you're not alone in that camp.
It's just horrible. I had to stop watching The Walking Dead because it just bothered me too much. I had to stop. So, in any case, the Game of Thrones Telltale, they only have the first episode out, and it's one of those games where it's these decisions that you have to make, and they affect how things happen in the game very, very strongly. And they're so good about making those decisions not feel like you just don't know what the right decision is either way. And every time you make a decision, you're like, oh, I get so mad at myself because I'm like, am I supposed to take the other path?
What
I
should
don't know.
I do? Yeah, there was one
So,
decision in Infamous where I tried to be the good guy the entire way through on my first time playing it because that's what I would have done. and I made the wrong decision at one of them, and I got some evil rep, and I was like, no, I wanted to. I got selfish on one decision, and it led to a lot of people dying, and I was mad.
You're a terrible, terrible person.
Like, tried to save my girlfriend. It was, well, no, I'm sorry.
I know. So,
but yeah.
So there's our gaming, other games discussion.
Yeah.
And our last one, my namesake tune, Danilian, an 86 level human mage, looked okay before Warlords of Draenor. I made a point to hit the barbershop. My human mage would give Chris Hemsworth a run for sexiest human on Azeroth or Draenor. I also have a Night Elf DK at 93. So I have a DK on his way up. Now I have a human mage I really want to play. Tell me one thing. What would you do? Not a serious question, but my handsome mage has some catching up to do. So mage. You get a Night Elf DK at 93 or a very sexy level 86 human mage that you could play.
Mage. Mage.
He's not biased at all, but mage.
No, not a bit at all. Oh man, what would I do first? Well, I mean, you already got the Nelf DK at 93. You're close to the end. So what I would do is I would get that DK up to 100 first. I'd get him settled where you wanted him, and then I'd go back to the 86 mage, because you're still going through. You're just getting into Pandaria right there.
Yeah.
And it's not it's a high enough level to where it'd be a waste of money for you to boost it. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to do that.
Right.
So just go ahead and get your DK to 100, get it out of the way so that you can pour more time into the mage. Yes.
See, I think of it exactly the opposite. I think you should play what you want to, what you're inspired to play. Even if it's going to take you longer to get there, you just have more fun with it. If it's a question of 86 versus 93, it's not that far away.
Yeah. That's only 7 levels difference, and especially since they nerfed the XP. I think, didn't they nerf the XP for Pandaria?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So
you can get through it really quick and catch up to it. I mean, once you do that. My paladin didn't take hardly any time at all, because I'd already done all the quests and knew where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
So, getting you up there. But yeah, I mean, play however you want to. But me personally, I would finish the DK, and then I would get to, save the best for last. Enjoy the mage.
You like to have your dessert longer than your main course. Yeah, look at you now.
Yeah, you eat the salad, eat all that real fast, get out of the way. And then when the cheesecake comes, or the apple pie, or the chocolate cake, you can just enjoy the rest of your mealtime with it. Just sit in it. Just wallow in the dessert.
This is getting minorly dirty, and it's really funny.
Oh, you dirty cheesecake. Where have you been all evening?
I've been waiting another possible show title. My Dirty Cheesecake.
Fridays on Fox, My Dirty Cheesecake.
Well played, sir. Well played. And that tells us one thing for this week. Thank you guys so much for contributing. You can send them in on, we got one of them on Facebook. You can do that, facebook.com/Tauren Think Tank. Otherwise, we get them on Twitter. The Twitter handle is @Tauren Think Tank, and I ask for them on Thursdays most days. With the holiday, it was Friday. But you can send them in any time, because we'll use them for the show. Just know that we won't have a show next week, so you don't have to send them in next week.
You can if you want to, just don't feel rushed.
Yeah, you can think about it, let it marinate, Get to the dessert part longer.
Yeah, I was going to say more food analogies right there. Just marinate.
Are you hungry? Is this
No, I ate right before. I ate before the show. It's just got dessert on the mind,
It's ice cream time. No. It's feedback time.
It's feedback time.
Yeah, it's feedback time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you... Wow, that's a lot of feedback.
Oh, it is, but we love it. And we had a lot of letters from you guys about the discussion topic that I talked about with my in-law situation. I want to thank you all so much for being so great and giving such great feedback. we don't have time to read all of them. So we picked one for this week, and we may put in some more in the future, just to kind of keep the conversation going. But you guys have given me a lot to think about, and I really, really appreciate it. So, this letter came in, and I really just, it was a good reminder to me about how people have situations that are a lot worse than what I'm going through. And it's a good reminder for us all to remember that, because you never know what somebody's going through unless they tell you. So, this is a letter here regarding the recent discussion about Jules' in-laws. I understand how many people feel that family is family and you need to go to any length to fix it. I used to feel the same way. However, at age 44, I have firmly come to believe, as Jules said, that family is who you choose. Up to age 10, I grew up in a large extended family with the belief that family was always there for each other no matter what. We came from an upper middle class liberal family of educators. My parents were divorced and I was an only child. In 1981, when I was 11, my mother, grandmother, and I were homeless and literally living in a camper down by the river. It had plastic sheets covering broken windows, and yes, it was the middle of winter. We spent several years being homeless or living in small hovels with very poor conditions. During these years, I overheard my family, who were much better off than we were, say horrible things about us to other people, pretend that they were not home when we needed help, and steal what few family possessions we had left while we were out going to churches to get food handouts. There are so many more tales I could tell, some that are heart-wrenching, but I won't for time's sake. Through all of the horrible things I've watched my family do to each other, I still did not question that family was family, and you love them no matter what. 10 years ago, my uncles and their wives became born-again Christians and immediately cut me from their lives. They did this because I'm gay, and have been openly since I was 18. Suddenly, I was now their number one enemy. Since my mother supported me, she was cut out of their lives as well. They then told anyone in our family that if they had anything to do with me, even speaking to me, that they were going to burn in hell. The one cousin who does keep in touch hesitantly relates some of the nasty comments and quote-unquote prayers said about me by her parents. This Christmas, my uncle sent me a Facebook message, the first contact in a decade, and wished me a Merry Christmas. I did not answer and will not. Through much self-exploration and a number of tearful moments, I long ago realized that just because a person shares common DNA or is bound to be by marriage, such as in-laws, does not mean that they are a good or kind person and that I have an obligation to allow them to treat me poorly. I have friends who have gone to hell and back with me and never wavered. They are my family, just as much as my mother and cousin. They are people who have earned my love and respect and have never turned their back on me. To anyone else, I say simply, if you treat me badly, you have no place in my life. Good luck with whatever decision you make on your in-laws. They are doing themselves a great disservice by now not allowing you fully into their lives. You are a wonderful person, and it's their loss. From Moo Moo Kachu from Rating Rainbow Guild on Earthen Ring, U.S. And
I like his name.
I love his name. It's a
Moo Moo
great name.
Kachu.
I think this letter, like I said, it reminded me, number one, that there are people who go through so much worse than we can ever imagine in our own lives. And that's what I always remember. But it echoes the way that I currently feel, which is that family is who you put into your life that's going to be there for you in everything, and not to judge you or treat you poorly or to make you feel bad about yourself or who you are. And so it's at this moment in time, I am just not going to be doing much about the situation unless something pushes it to a direction that needs to be addressed. But it's right now I don't have the desire to push it in that direction. I still need to think about it. I'm going to have a lot of time on airplanes in the next week. So
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll
a lot
be
of
time for
thinking
me
time.
to think. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And they are right. Just because your family doesn't mean that you have an obligation to allow them to treat you poorly. Of course not. That goes, that's absolutely true. I mean, you don't have to, I just, it makes me thankful that my family situation isn't as bad,
Yeah.
but, and I really feel for people that have this bad situation. I just, and because I don't have it, I want that for other people. And I wish that there was, first of all, that's not a very Christian attitude. Even if you don't agree with a homosexual lifestyle, even if you hate it, that's not the way you treat people.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, you don't cut them out of your lives, for crying out loud. You may not agree with them, but for heaven's sake, man.
And this is going back to our discussion earlier. We talking about religion in this respect.
Hmm.
Where they truly do believe that he is going to burn in hell, and therefore they cannot be associated with it. That is what they believe.
Well, I
And
mean,
I'm not apologizing for it.
oh,
It's
I know.
something that it upsets me to no end. But you get that aspect into the mix, and man, it is. How do you negotiate with that? You can't.
Well, no, but I mean, even on them, just even if they do believe that, that doesn't give them a license to treat the guy like crap or to be unkind. Even if that's the case, then that doesn't give them license to act that way.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that in one bit, because regardless of how he feels or what he believes in, he's still a person, for
Yeah.
crying out loud. And there's an inherent value to people.
Yeah.
No matter what, there's at least some, they can't disagree with that. I mean, there's some value in people.
Yeah.
So it just that, when I see stuff like that, it makes me mad. It doesn't make me feel like, you know, I'm being represented correctly to the rest of the world.
Right.
I don't like that one bit.
Well, and as a Christian yourself,
Mhm.
it's that whole piece of, this gives me a bad name for what I believe in. This
Mhm.
negates everything I believe in and makes me feel like you have just taken that and tarnished it. And
It does.
so, but I think that most of the public understands that the born again movement is a very, very, very different side of it to most, it's the extremist movement. It's the
Well, yeah, just
KKK of a religious
yeah,
side.
just I mean, there's extremists on everything, and this is kind of that part of it, and in my field. So I mean, I expect it. Lord knows I get enough crap at work from my coworkers about it sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's just ugh,
Yeah.
makes me angry. I feel bad for the nice Germans in 1939, or the
Right.
you know I
Right.
mean, crying out loud,
Yeah. And
way to paint us in a bad light.
the bottom line of all of this is it comes down to who we are as a
Mm,
person and how we treat others.
hmm.
And if
No matter what you believe.
and it doesn't matter what you believe, absolutely. We could believe that the flying spaghetti monster rules all, and not agree on that fundamentally as a religious dichotomy. But it would be, if we treated each other, and beat each other up, and I screamed at you every single time because of your beliefs, and you did that with me, then we're never going to see eye to eye. We're never going to
Hmm.
create that. So, and his decision of not addressing his uncle after all of the abuse and pain, because I think he would be afraid to
Sure.
hear, this guy comes and wishes him a Merry Christmas after abusing him all of these years. My first inclination would be, you're trying to convert me, aren't you? What do you want
Mm.
from me? Why do you want to talk to me now after all this?
Yeah, and it would, that's when my brain is thinking, I think the other thing, possibly it's a way to, it's instead of just flat out apologizing right at the get go, because I would want his uncle to go to him and say I'm sorry, or try to make amends, instead of just saying Merry Christmas. So I doubt that's the case, but I
There's
that
your
goes back
eternal
to,
optimist right there. You're
yes,
hoping
exactly.
that
I'm
he has come
hoping
to
that,
see the light.
even if he doesn't, still, like I said, if he doesn't agree, at least coming to value him as a human being.
Yeah.
Just it just, I want things to work out, and I know they can't always work out, and they rarely do, but ah.
Yeah. Well, you know what though, you just to close this out because we were going long,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, we are.
that's okay. But your eternal optimism about the goodness in people is what helps me in life sometimes to remember. You know, the world needs
Well,
people like you. I mean, we
well,
need people to remind us that things can always be better or that people can always change because it's all, especially as Americans, we tend to always go towards the what do you want from me? What are you trying to take from me?
hmm
What's your ulterior motive? Not necessarily that you're coming at this from good intentions. So,
yeah.
yeah. And I will always have that wall up to say, "Oh, I don't know about this."
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for this letter, Mumu Kachu. I sympathize so much with your situation, and I applaud you for getting past all of this to a life that you feel good about. You've been true to yourself. You are standing tall and against the hate, and you have family and friends who love you. That's more than anybody could ask for, I think. So,
hmm
all right. And at that, it's time to do some slash moves. Start us off.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first Slash Moo comes from Wade Dennis 3. Slash Moo to my grandfather, who passed away earlier this week, and to the rest of my family. I know I started off really positive because I didn't know where it was going, so I'm sorry about that. Slash Moo to, oh, man.
Well, you know
So,
what,
yes.
though? But a positive thing, for a life well lived. So they will say that.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And the rest of his family who, you know, I hope will stay strong through it and will remember the good things that your grandfather brought. So
yes,
absolutely slash moo to you also, Wade.
absolutely. From L. Masseline, slash moo to my girlfriend who helped me with the death in the family. You are the best, honey. Oh,
Mm,
so much death.
yeah. From Memeth slash moo to our favorite coffee bird who is back from a well needed vacation at Kithrak _ and at Rigarius.
Yay. Our Blizzard
Mm,
folks are coming back from vacay.
yeah. More talk about the next patch, guys. Come on.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to know more stuff.
From Cox D528 slash moo to the Instant Show for standing up to the internet hate.
hmm Yeah, he does some good work over there. They all do.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't heard anything
I
about
still
it.
don't. I still don't.
I sent a message to Scott Johnson to see if I could find out anything, and he said that they took a stand against the Gamergate movement, and they are
Okay.
and they have received some horrible letters, and they're staying
Oh,
tall, and so I second that slash moo on behalf of all female gamers out there. Thank you for standing tall against the hate.
and I third moo it. And let's see here.
It's third moo.
I third the moo. I
I
third
third
the
the
slash
moo.
moo. I third the moo. Plead the fifth and third the moo. All right, the next one is from _Lero slash moo to my two girls, Gracie and Emmy. They continually hold open the door to childhood for me.
Aw. From Lady Birdness, can I have a slash moo to my beloved Alderic? His patience level is nothing short of amazing today. You sure can.
Nice. And also from Meerkat X slash moo to at Veilfire, the Robocop, Jurassic Park, supernatural RPG loving CM. Sorry.
Veilflare.
Blah blah blah. Let me do that again. Slash moo to Veilflare, the Robocop, Jurassic Park, supernatural RPG loving CM who brings miles of smiles to the Blizzard community.
I actually think it's Vayflare. I just don't see an L in
Veilflare?
there. Yeah.
Yes. I
did the same thing.
I'm sorry.
Blah, blah, blah.
Language. My tongue is not working today. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
From Tater _Soul LRT slash moo to my buddy Mike for jumping up immediately and coming to help me pack up my apartment for my move.
Nice.
Yay.
And see, we've also got this is all one big one, right?
Yep.
Okay, this is from Brian K. Slash moo to my brother-in-law. He won't hear this, but because of him, we have heat in the house for the first time in a week and a half.
Oof.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah. He's also from Milwaukee and has family in Madison, so he says, "Yay, Wisconsin and go Packers!" Yeah.
Oh,
go
wow.
Packers.
Then you absolutely need the heat in your house.
Yes, you do.
I know it's uncomfortable down here, but to be up there, goodness.
Oh yeah, go Packers. And congratulations on having heat in your house after a week and a half. That's horrible. I wanted to give a big /moo to our friend Tressel, our raider and teammate from Cat on Fire, who got married today. /moo to you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Now you're starting your own guild. It's only 2 people.
Aww.
It's a small guild for now, but it's still a guild. And I've got 2. I've got one /moo to Kata Codex. Her birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to
happy
you.
birthday, Kata.
And then also /moo to the wife. She texted me before the show, and she's like, I want a /moo. And I was like, okay, I'll give you a /moo.
/moo to the Lady Marconin. She deserves it.
Yep. I think that's it.
All right, we got them all in
it.
there. So if you want to send in a /moo to the show, you can do so. Questions at TaurenThinkTank.com, on Twitter at TaurenThinkTank, or on Facebook, Facebook.com/TaurenThinkTank. We are on iTunes and on Stitcher. We're on various other places. You can find us at TaurenThinkTank.com as our website. If you can listen on the show there, you can download it on all your various podcasting devices. If you get a chance and you're out there, rate us on iTunes or Stitcher or any other place that you find us. It always helps the show and helps other people find us. So we certainly appreciate that. And that looks like a show to me.
It looks like it to me, too.
I think we did it. We made a heck of a show, man. This is a long one, but
Yeah.
that's great. So as we talked about, we're not going to have a show next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks with another great show. Maybe Marconin will have some creative time in that period if he's working during the evenings, but I won't force it. I'm just giving him like,
Just a gentle nudge.
just a little gentle nudge on the show.
Just a nudge, yeah.
Anything else going on for you in the next week and a half to 2 weeks?
Oh, goodness. Next week and a half, 2 weeks. Not really, other than my swing shifts. That's about it. Doing a little bit of travel, but I'm staying in the States. So that's good. Not traveling too far away.
Yeah.
And so I've got my studio set up, getting my new laptop. I'm going to take it on its first big journey this week when I go to night. So we'll see how it holds up.
Awesome.
And it'll be a good time, I think. I just got to work and sleep a little bit and play WoW. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do the next 2 weeks.
All right. Well, I will be in New Jersey over next weekend,
Yes,
and I'll
you
have lots
will.
of stories, I'm sure, when I come back. And
Would you say hi to Marsha for me, please?
if I see her, you most definitely will get a hi to Marsha.
I want to hear it immediately, please.
Marsha! And with that, it's time to bring the show home. And I'm going to turn this down first because I'm going to do that right. There it is. Tauren Think Tank is a proud member of the Signals Media All-Star Network. Find out more about the other great shows in our network by going to signalsmedia.com.
Our voiceovers are done by 2 Uber majors, Arcane and Marconin. You can find us outside of the show on our website, TaurenThinkTank.com, which has all of our podcasts and information on how to get in touch with us.
I'm going to see if he's going to do a different voice for every block he reads. Thank you to all of our patrons. The show will always be free, and your support helps us do even more. If you would like to become a patron of the show, you can do that at patreon.com/TaurenThinkTank.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TaurenThinkTank. You can also find us on Twitter. Twitter. And you can find us on the Twitter for the show at Tauren Think Tank. You can also find Jules. She's at Jules RPG. And you can also find me, Marconin, at Marconin WOW. That's Marconin Wow. You can also chat with us on our forums. Come on, fellas and ladies, give them some love. Let's find it. You can find it at forums.signalsmedia.com.
So laughing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, chat room, for being with us tonight, making some wonderful discussion as you always do. And you hang out with us every Saturday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. It's twitch.tv/TaurenThinkTank. We love having you guys here with us, so thank you for coming by for the live show, for your downloads, and for your feedback after the show. So again, we won't be here this coming week. We will be back in 2 weeks. And so be good to each other, and just love each other a little bit more this year. It's 2015. Let's be good to each other.
Yeah, we got hoverboards coming in a couple months.
My hoverboard's on order, apparently. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So until next time, for me, for Marconin, for Arcane, for the entire chat room, until next time, /moo, everybody.
/moo.
And that's gonna need an edit again.
Tauren Think Tank. We make your problems less bad.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com. It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?
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 You don't say.
This whole accent thing at the end of the show is gonna kill me. Every time you come up with a new one, I'm gonna lose it.
Well, I try to give you a few ones that you're not expecting. I gotta keep you on your toes, Jules.
I need to hotkey this damn soundboard, and I keep forgetting to do it. Because the problem is I have to drop the volume for the music going out, and then I have to stop that, bring it up, and then so I've got to hotkey that whole thing, and I don't know how to do it, so I have to figure it out. I need like a memory button to be like beep beep. So, so
excuse
funny.
me.
So funny, I love it. Oh my gosh, the Jokerangs tonight.
What is a Jokerang? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so you throw a joke out there, and it spins around your head like a boomerang, and it goes out into the nether, and then it spins back and it hits you in the head.
Oh, I got you.
That's a Jokerang. Because then all of a sudden you sit there and you're like, huh? And then the joke goes bam, and you're like, oh, I get it.
Oh, man. Okay, MacGyver wants me to do an Elvis voice.
Please. Please.
Oh, let's see here. Ooh, give me some of that apple pie. That's close. I don't know. Oh, trying to feel how Elvis would talk. I can't. I'd have to listen to more Elvis to get it.
Listen to it, yeah.
Yeah, because oh gosh.
Wait, let me go find some. I'll find it. Hang on.
I did. There's another a person who met, or actually who Elvis met in his office, which was ovaloid in shape. I wanted to kind of.
I was in a nightclub one night, and this big fight broke out in this club.
A big fight broke out in this club.
I had two guitars. I always keep one on the side in case I break the strings.
Keep one on the side. I break the strings.
And I remember thinking, I hope that nothing happens to that guitar. It was brand new. I heard a crunch, and this guy had stepped in it. Had it hanging on his foot, man.
How does that work?
Well, I had to find some apple pie. I was hoping he wasn't going to hit it with the strings, and heard this big crunch. See, it's kind of, I'd have to study it a little bit and listen to it.
You have to get into the character.
Yeah,
too.
you have to get into the character a little bit. But what was it? I was listening to, is it Kevin Smith, the guy who was Silent Bob? Jane Silent Bob? Is it Kevin Smith?
Yeah, it's Kevin Smith who's Silent Bob.
Well, I was listening to Stitcher, and it randomly selected his podcast where they read comic books and do like a live where they read the as different characters. And there was one they were doing a crossover between Green Hornet and Batman, and there was somebody who had to do Nixon, and so they were looking for somebody to do Nixon, and the guy they picked was just horrible. And so I started thinking, could I do Richard Milhouse Nixon? And so I started working on it, and I think I got it almost there. So I was like, I know it looks horrible, but you really got to shake the jowls.
Well, for him, you do, because it's
when you're
hard. You need the movement
Nixon.
of his lips to get his sound, like because the sound actually cuts in and out as his mouth
it
moves
does.
and his
does.
face moves. So yeah, it's and with Elvis, you've got to get the sneer, or you don't get that whole thing.
I can actually do that. Do the lip thing.
Yeah,
I can do that. Yeah. I only do on that one side, though.
It literally looks like you're taking a string and going.
I used to do that as a joke. I would be like, "See, I've got an invisible thing. You can't hear." And I would do that. I did that when I was little, but
that's fantastic.
yeah, MacGyver. It's closer to Nixon's head in Futurama. It's more the character as a caricature of him. Well, that's the point. I I love Nixon on Futurama though. It's, my fellow Earthicans.
That's fantastic. So this entire show, Garrus has been sleeping on the futon that's next to me, and for about half the show, he was on his back with his paws like up in the air.
Oh boy.
And I was sitting here trying not to giggle at this silly cat with his
Just
paws
passed
up in
out
the
like that.
air. And jeez. So yeah, I got this little amusement thing on the side. He's actually sleeping like a cat right now, but so damn cute. So
Yeah, I ever since the shelf incident with Pixie earlier today, I haven't. The girls aren't in here, but I could let them in. They'd probably.
and you can take your possible damage for the
Well,
shelves.
I think as long as they don't have enough free time on the back of my chair than to jump up.
Well, the
then I
way
should
it
be
looks right
okay.
now, they have no landing space.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it would have been okay, but I had put the little pegs on the shelf on the wrong.
Oh
I
yeah.
put one lower, and that's why it flipped back. Otherwise, it would have just been fine. I've been like, "Cat, get off the shelf," instead of it like Lego minifigures flying in the air.
You want a gross cat story? I got a gross one.
Oh boy, what bodily fluid is it going to be pertaining to?
So, I told you about how Garrus likes to come in the middle of the night, and he
Mhm.
comes in and he like purrs and wants to snuggle at like 4 a.m. because he's now very lovey, and he gets so excited that he drools.
Oh yeah.
So I was so out of it last night when he woke me up. I was on my back. I realized I was on my back, and I had been kind of leaning to the side, and I thought that I had been drooling out of my mouth. So I literally like just poked my tongue out and went, "Oh shit!" He
That's not
drooled
Jules
all over my
drool.
face, and I totally just licked cat drool.
That's not Jules' drool. That's Garrett's
That was
drool.
Garrus drool. I just licked.
That's like what I. That's like sometimes I'll have Pixie will be here in my lap with her face because she likes to nuzzle. She put her face under my chin, and I'm just scratching her head, and she's looking at me. I'm like, "Hi, Pixie," and then she'll sneeze, just paint my face. I'm like, it's like the scene in Jurassic Park when the Brachiosaurus sneezes on the girl.
Yes.
It's a Vegisaurus. Vegisaurus just all over you. I'm like, cat.
Oh god. At least it was
Ugh.
drool and not something else, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Ugh.
it could be worse because I mean they lick. My cats will lick my face, and I don't really mind it that much. But
At least I'm amusing
gross.
the chat room with my gross story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I licked kitty drool.
yep. Achievement unlocked.
Achievement unlocked.
The crazy cat lady title is
dude.
now
I was
yours.
half asleep. It was 4 a.m. and I was completely out of it.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Oh,
You know.
God. And
It
I'm sitting there
happens.
going, I woke up enough to go, oh shit.
Oh no, but
All
not
right.
enough to do anything about
Well,
it.
and also I literally, this is what happens, and Kane laughs at me every time because he's just gotten into bed usually when this happens, and I'm rubbing my face, like trying to get off, and he's giggling because he knows what has happened where I've got this drool all over my face. And so, like, he just, and he's just giggling, like, that's funny. He drooled on you.
Uh-huh. That just shows that he loves you.
Oh,
That's-
apparently he loves me a lot.
That's how it is with Reese. She'll like every time I start petting her, there's that little shiny dollop right there on her lips. It's like I just have to go, "Hi, Reese," and start scratching her head, and it's bloop right away. It's like a leaky faucet till I'm turned on.
It's like a dog. You're just like drooling out there except the cat.
Yeah.
Cats don't normally drool though. This is the funny
They
thing.
normally don't. No, I mean not at all. I mean, and that's a dog licking my face. I don't really like it because it's wet. But when a cat does it, like it's just there. It's just a little piece of sandpaper. And yeah, after a while it gets annoying, but
Yeah.
it's kind of cute. So
So now that we've grossed out the entire chat room with our cat and pet stories,
this is why you stay for the post show,
that's
right?
right. We'll amuse you with all kinds of stuff.
This is where the real stories come from. You don't get this on the feed.
Yes. So thank you for an awesome show, you guys. Thank you, Marconin, for putting up with my crazy antics and picking weird questions to talk about.
Hey, well, no, I mean, it was something that neither of us had any experience with,
Yeah.
and we both learned something. So
Absolutely.
I don't mind that at all. It's when we first got the email, I was like, oh, that's an interesting situation to be in.
Yeah.
Really, I was like,
a
oh
lot of
wow.
times we have to think about, I mean, just a little behind the scenes stuff. Like we don't talk about things that we don't have any experience with on purpose because it does a disservice to that. We're not going to try to be an expert on something we're not going to know about. So it's a matter of thinking about it. Okay, I'd like to raise awareness of this, but how do we talk about it in a way that raises awareness without us being experts?
Exactly.
We do this a lot. So yeah, so it's just it's a fun thing for us to do, and we get some amazing questions. So yeah, so Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you had a good New Year's. And
Oh, I didn't talk about my New Year's. We went to a local restaurant.
yeah.
It's like a European style restaurant. It's like kind of all over the place. They've got really good schnitzel. That's what I had for dinner. They have really good bratwurst. They have the best fish and chips I've ever eaten. They have they'll do goulash. They'll do and like the chef will do something different every day. He's just like they give him you have the whole menu, but then they have something that he just thinks up every day.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
And oh yeah, and they have cheese spetzel that we always get as a appetizer. And I had some truffle deviled eggs, which was snazzy looking. Like it was like $4 for two halves of an egg. So it was two eggs, but it was really like I think I tweeted a picture of it. It was really they were like that tall.
They were huge.
Yeah,
they looked
and
amazing.
And you could really taste the truffle oil in the yolk there. And yeah, it was oh man, we ate way too much food. And then we got a bottle of champagne, and then it was midnight, and everybody was around the bar at that point. They were handing out champagne to give out, but the guy came by our table, and he's like, "Oh, you've got something better than this. You've got something," because they were just giving out the cheap champagne, but it was free for every customer that was there. Because I mean, and there maybe I'd say maybe between 18 and 24 people there. And even the cooks, because the kitchen closed at midnight, so the cooks came out a little bit early, and they were out there watching the ball drop with us.
Nice.
And it was a lot of fun. We the food was really good. They made the little cocktail that the two of us got was really strong, too strong for the lady, but it was fine for me. It was a bourbon, a mixed bourbon drink.
Nice.
With a grapefruit in it and stuff. Oh, it was so good.
Oh man.
I mean, it probably wasn't as good as what you were having with your Jello shots and such, but
well, you guys had like the gourmet food, and we had the down home food, and
nothing
Sherlock
wrong with
smoked
that.
a brisket, a 13-pound brisket that he smoked for like
for like
day.
2 days or 2 days,
or
yeah.
something crazy like that. So good. So yeah, it was so good. I haven't had brisket really a lot, and he got the smoker, and I was like, this is so good. I want more. So yeah, that was
you either got to have somebody that knows what he's doing, or you got to go to Texas for good brisket, I think.
That's a want to do, is to go to Texas for some really good barbecue someday. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of good places in Dallas, and there's a lot of good places in Houston. I don't know much of San Antonio. But because I've worked in Dallas and Houston before and really got a good lay of the land in both of those cities, and Dallas is only 5 hours from me, or 4 to 5 hours from me, so or a really cheap flight because it's not very far at all.
Yeah,
I guess it's like a 30-minute flight for me.
I'm really pushing to see if I can get an extra week of vacation, even if it's unpaid at my job. If I did, oh my God, there's so many things that I would want to do. So, yeah, and take a couple of days and go to some place that I haven't been to, and
like New Orleans.
I've never been. I want to go. So
yeah, I remember telling you one time you got to tell me when you're down there, because I'm not terribly far from New Orleans, and I know the food and the places.
You would take us everywhere. Are you kidding? We'd be
having
a blast.
Yeah. It would be awesome.
Oh, totally. So if I can get this to happen, man, there might be some kind of fun trip. I want to go out and visit my Phoenix friends. I want to go, there's so many things I want to do. So
I would totally be down for that one as well.
Yes. So anyway, So we're, oh my gosh, we're late. So we should get out of here.
I can't even see the time because your sky. Oh, it's 11:30.
It's 11:30.
Well,
A long show. But yeah, so we'll be back in 2 weeks, you guys. And keep an eye on Twitter. I'll try and put some pictures out there from the party and from my trip. So, and we'll be back in 2. So, and if you're signed up for the Pen Pal program, I'm gonna try and get them out tomorrow. Get the information out for everybody tomorrow if I can. So.
and the poster. Sign up for the poster if you haven't.
That's going
The
to be going out
poster.
next week. Yay. So.
Yes.
All right, guys. /Moo to you. We'll talk to you in 2.
/Moo. See you in 2.
Bye.